Perez and Jeff Cora.
And welcome to the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. A big Tuesday show as we get you set for the week of UC Riverside basketball. We've got the Inland Empire All-Star Classic Media Day coming up. We've got big information on the scholarships around the All-Star Classic. So if you're a high school football player out there, you know you're already in the All-Star game. They're going to pass out some serious scholarship money. In fact, over the years, Jeff, it's the 33rd annual, the longest running high school football all-star game in California. They have given out close to $200,000 in scholarship money.
That is really big do, large do.
So we're going to tell people out there, the folks, and specifically the players in the game, how you can get a piece of that scholarship money, because you have to enter and you have until Saturday, until Media Day. So we're going to bring you up to date on that and how you get some of that scholarship money. Again, such a great cause with the Sport Foundation and what Dr. Wall started a long time ago and still going strong. So that's a little bit later in the show. We're also going to break down the college football semifinals last night, the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl.
Oh, I missed it. I missed my guy Baker Mayfield. I called it and he choked. That dang choker. No, that's not correct. He played pretty well. But man, what a tough loss there for my great Sooner Nation. I don't know if it's my Sooner Nation. I just made that up too. But since I've
never seen you wear a Boomer Sooner shirt.
No, I'm an SC football guy, UCLA basketball guy, if that makes sense.
Well, we did have the Sugar Bowl last night and the granddaddy of them all.
Oh, granddaddy of them all.
Georgia and Oklahoma. In fact, world famous Intern Angel was at the Rose Bowl last night. First time the Rose Bowl has gone to overtime. In fact, it went to double overtime with Georgia outlasting Oklahoma to win the Rose Bowl and advance to the national championship game. World famous was in the middle of it all, and he's going to be in studio to break down the Rose Bowl from last night in Pasadena. So we've got the Rose Bowl covered, Jeff.
Yes.
We're also going to have the Sugar Bowl covered.
How is that possible?
Because my boy, my mentor, Brandon Dunn, he's the main sports anchor, the sports director at WPDE, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And they cover the Clemson Tigers real hard. He was there last night for the Sugar Bowl between Clemson and Alabama. And, of course, it was Alabama winning that one.
Yeah, but isn't this another Saban assistant that's going after him in the national championship?
The Georgia guy?
Kirby Smart.
Is he?
Yeah, he is.
Colin's saying yeah.
Yeah, he's
not a big SEC guy.
Just put it this way. I was looking over some stats earlier. He's 11-0 versus his former assistant coaches.
He might have another former assistant, because did you see the way he ripped into his offensive coordinator?
Well, he did that last year too, and look what happened there.
So I know you missed it the other day. We had Vinny Fazio on last week when you were on the road with UC Riverside men's basketball. But we were talking about the fact that Lane Kiffin is hilarious on Twitter. Have you followed him on Twitter?
Oh, he's the best. He's really good.
So he put something out there today on Twitter, and it had to do with the offensive coordinator at Alabama getting chewed out on the sideline.
Like last year.
Yeah, and it says, he wrote, "So you wanted to be the OC for Coach Saban?" And then it obviously has the video of the OC getting chewed out, and then he had some other things to say. Can't read it all here on the air.
But see, Saban isn't on Twitter. He doesn't even. There's claims he doesn't even have a cell phone, for gosh sake. So who cares? Let Lane Kiffin go at it and just say whatever he wants. It's kind of funny.
So we're gonna have Brandon Dunn from the Sugar Bowl, world famous from the Rose Bowl. So we'll get you all set for the national championship game. It's in less than 1 week. A week from last night in Atlanta, as it'll be Georgia taking on Alabama.
Alabama.
An all SEC championship game, which I know a lot of people aren't excited about. And a lot of people are making the case that the SEC was all about hype, that they used to be really good, and then the last couple of years they weren't. They were just riding the wave of what their brand had built, and they weren't really that great of conference like they used to be. But now we got two SEC teams playing for the national championship.
Yeah, pretty good, and you can't say anything about the Pac-12.
No, bad bowl season for the Pac-12.
1-8?
Yeah,
that's a great percentage right there.
Really bad. I mean, like the Pac-12 was a bad choice. I mean, it was really bad.
But and that's supposed to be the number two ranked conference in the country, and you go 1-8. That's embarrassing.
Yeah, it was not good. So the SEC back on top, two teams playing for the national title next Monday. So we're going to talk a lot more about these college football bowl games, more about the NFL playoffs beginning on Saturday, including the LA Rams hosting a game at the Coliseum for the first time since 1979. So big weekend for all the Rams fans out there. And if something goes down with the Raiders, specifically John Gruden, while we're on the air.
Chucky, is he going to sign today maybe?
Could happen. Sounds like he's building his staff right now. So it's not a done deal. It's not public.
But why would he have ever left? Why would he leave what he's doing? He's making a boatload. He goes out in the public speaking circuit. Why would you put yourself back into that fire? He's going to have a heart attack. He's going to explode.
You know why you're saying that, right, Jeff?
No.
Because you are the John Gruden of the Inland Empire.
I cover football.
Long-time coach, you did so well. No, long-time coach, you did so well. You stepped away from the game to get into broadcasting.
I'm riding that, too.
Why would you go back, Jeff?
Because I'm riding both. I might as well do the one that's easier. No, I mean, honestly, looking back at coaching and so forth, it's nice. I miss practices. The games, if I could coach a team and just do practices and not do games, I'd coach basketball still to this day.
So you like to teach. You like to see the guys go out there, work hard, and actually execute what you're trying to teach.
Yeah, practices are fun. You get to see guys get better. Games are just stupid.
But see, as an athlete, maybe it was just me, but I never liked practice. I was like, man, I just do this for the game.
Yeah, I mean,
talk about the game.
When I played, I thought the same thing. But as a coach, you get to see the results of all of your labor. You see guys actually getting better every practice. In games, man, there's game players and there's practice players. And I prefer to have a good practice player and teach the game of hoops. But yeah, I don't know why the heck Gruden would ever do this. I don't understand why anybody wants to get back into coaching. Vinny Fazio, what are you doing? Don't get back into coaching. Don't be stupid. Yeah, you need to just
he might end up somewhere.
Well, I'm sure he will. But, I mean, let's just talk about this. If you have children, I have 3 young children. Why would I ever want to do that when I can spend time with, for one, if I didn't like my wife, I'd say, okay, I'm going to coach again. But I do. I like
old. So you're saying coaches don't like their wives?
Yeah, I like Carla Smedberg. She's a good wife.
Rest in peace, Rollie Smedberg.
Yeah, Rollie Smedberg and his toes.
2 missing toes.
Yeah, but I like my 3 children, and honestly, I enjoy doing this because it's nice. I can talk sports. I can talk smack about guys, and enjoy it and go home and be okay. I'm not gonna have stress on my plate.
Well, John Gruden hasn't been in the game for a long time.
Yeah, he talks a good game. Remember, he's always doing these quarterback things. Let's see him get a quarterback. Well, you got Carr.
Derek Carr.
I mean, yeah, he's a good coach, but I just don't know why he would want to do it. He's making millions.
Well, they're saying if anyone's going to usher the Raiders in this new era into Las Vegas, it would be John Gruden, because they've got one more year that they're going to for sure be in Oakland. But the thing is, I think their lease is up at the Coliseum in Oakland, so they don't know if by 2019 they'll be actually ready to play somewhere in Las Vegas.
Where are they going to play? UNLV? I mean,
no, but that's the thing. They could wear out their welcome and maybe stay in Oakland another season or 2 if the stadium's not ready or they don't have somewhere else to play.
Oh,
you imagine that?
Oh, yeah. The NFL, maybe they can come play at StubHub.
You got to talk to the Chargers first, right?
Well, I mean, they'll just switch. We'll let San Diego go, or I'm sorry, the Los Angeles Chargers. Even though I like them, maybe they'll fill up more people up in Oakland. Get further away from the San Diego fans that hate them. But
Valley College has a nice new stadium.
They can play at what is it called? The Death Valley,
man.
They can play at Death Valley.
Welcome to Death Valley.
Oh, I don't know, Chucky Gruden. I don't know about that one, but that's okay. I mean, if he wants to do it, that's fine. Good for him.
So if it goes down, because it could go down any minute,
any second,
we don't know. But if it goes down, we're live on the air till 5:30 because Jeff, we're leading up to San Diego State basketball. The Aztecs taking on Colorado State. We'll go live to the pregame show at 5:30 right after the Inland Sports Show here on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. Kind of an up and down start for the Aztecs, right? I mean, they went to Wyoming, which the highest place in terms of elevation that you're going to go in the Mountain West Conference. So it's not an easy place to win. Not a lot of basketball tradition with Wyoming, but for whatever reason on their home floor, isolated up there in Cheyenne. It's tough to play. It's a tough place to play. It's a tough place to win. And San Diego State found out the hard way as they lost their conference opener. But they're trying to get things going in the right direction once again. They're playing at Colorado State, a game that you can listen to live right here on Fox Sports IE. As our guy Matt Mitchell still tearing it up out of Roosevelt High School.
Yeah, he's shooting 42% from the 3-point line. He's got 8 double-digit scoring games, and he's a true freshman. So you got to say, the guy can play. He's going to be a staple and a superstar for those guys for 3 more years beyond this year. So he's a stud.
Matt Mitchell is big time, and speaking of other college basketball news, of course, it was the news that we talked about for quite a bit yesterday on the show as we ushered in the 2018 year. Justin Bell taking over the UC Riverside men's basketball team. I know he hasn't done any interviews yet. Jeff, you were texting with him just a little bit because he's trying to get his bearings straight. I mean, they've got their conference opener tomorrow night on the road at Fullerton. You'll be out there calling the game. So he's got a lot on his plate. All of a sudden, he's thrust right into the fire. Yeah, I mean, it's tough for a first-year coach, and, you know, he played at UC Riverside. I'm sure he probably doesn't want to talk to a whole lot of people right now. I don't blame him. I mean, he was on a staff that he really enjoyed. He liked to coach Cuts and the players, and right now I think his main job is to focus those young men for our Big West play, which starts tomorrow. You got to get their heads ready, and that'll mess with your head when you lose your head coach a few days ago, and now you've got a new guy that you got to listen to. So yeah, I understand. You got to take a little time, but he'll be on with us later on this week and give us maybe a preview of the UC Santa Barbara game on Saturday night. Yeah, coming up on Saturday night. Yeah, because when you're a head coach, you have to deal with a lot of other things that you maybe just don't anticipate when you're not the head coach. You know, something as simple as, when you want the trainers here. You know what I mean? Like just little things that you don't normally have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. I mean, just take it as a head basketball coach or a football coach at the high school level. When you're the head coach, everything ultimately falls on your shoulders. Everything's on your plate. But when you're an assistant, you're more specific on, like, hey, these are my duties. This is what I need to do to get the team ready. This is what I'm responsible for. But when you're the head coach, ultimately everything's on your plate. Yeah, and he's doing 2 jobs. You got to remember, they're not going to just hire a new assistant out of the blue and say, okay, you're going to fill a spot. They lose a spot on that staff. And Justin Bell was in charge of recruiting. Justin Bell also does scouting for certain games of the year. So basically, he's taking on 2 jobs the remainder of the season. So we're going to talk more about UC Riverside men's basketball. Again, their conference opener coming up tomorrow night on the road at Cal State Fullerton. In fact, a pair of road games to kick things off. And Fullerton's having a good year with Khalil Ahmad, a guy who's done our show out of Centennial High School. Then Saturday night, it's a 9 p.m. game. Jeff, we're calling it. We're going to stay up late. We are going to be in Santa Barbara at a 9 p.m. game. The game will be on ESPN3, but don't watch those guys. Watch us. Yeah, watch us. Big West TV. Big West TV, we will be on. Go to GoHighlanders.com, and I'll tell you what, Santa Barbara has really, really improved. Last year, they had 3 guys that were ineligible to academics at a UC school unheard of. But the biggest thing for UC Santa Barbara this year is they have 3 graduate transfers. So they have 3 transfers that were seniors. So that brings your leadership, your mentality, your maturity for your ball club. It changes everything. So UC Santa Barbara is probably right now the best team in the Big West. That's a big test for UC Riverside coming up. And I was doing a little bit of homework as we get ready for the Gauchos coming up on Saturday night. And they had a sophomore, I think it was out of Oaks Christian, so kind of a local guy from that area, going for like 22 a game. Yeah, they can definitely. They have a couple scores. In fact, he was one of their best players last year. Blew out his ACL midway through the season, so he's making a comeback. He's a very talented player. But they're big. They're big. They're strong, and they're going to run their stuff. They have a new head coach, so there's an excitement going with UC Santa Barbara that they haven't had in the last year, because last year was really a down year for them. Greg, do you have the crickets? You have the crickets ready? Because it is a 9 p.m. tip-off at UC Santa Barbara. And I'm driving. I'm going to keep you up. I'm going to keep you up all night. We're going to be driving through the middle of the night. Because it's a late start, and I know you might get tired. No way. We're going to be drinking coffee. I'm telling you. Remember No-Dos? Yeah, I do remember No-Dos? Yeah. I'm going to take like 8 No-Dos, and I'm going to drive through the night. I'm going to keep you awake. Because I just didn't know if I was going to, let's say UC Riverside goes on the road and they knock off the Gauchos, and I'm all fired up saying, UC Riverside improves to 2-0. Dikembe Martin with a career-high 45, Jeff. Then we're staying in Santa Barbara. We're going to stay in Santa Barbara, and we're going to party. We're going to drink Coca-Colas, and we're going to dance around the main street in Santa Barbara, shirtless. Can't believe it. Triple overtime. The Highlanders have won. Head coach Justin Bell gets the big win on the road at the Gauchos. How about that, Jeff? What? You said what, huh? Jeff, yeah, it's a 9 o'clock tip-off. I'm a little concerned you're going to fall asleep. Hey, where's Jeff, man? Where's Jeff? I think he's sleeping out.
Yeah, I'll be sleeping, but no, I'm excited. It's going to be a fun game. I'm looking forward to Cal State Fullerton tomorrow.
Yeah,
to see our boy John Smith, one of my closest friends in the world.
Associate head coach at Cal State Fullerton. He's done the show a couple times. He's got Khalil Ahmad out there at Fullerton, who he loves.
Not as much as his son.
Yeah.
I mean, I might love Khalil Ahmad, but he really loves his son.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I forgot his son's on the team as well. And then we had his daughter, Kiana Smith, on the show.
She's going to be the National Player of the Year. I'm calling she'll be Pac-12 Player of the Year.
She's that good.
She is awesome.
All right, so we got a lot to get to. We'll talk more about UC Riverside basketball. Of course, the Sugar Bowl and the granddaddy of them all last night, the Rose Bowls, to get you ready for the national championship game. We'll also touch on the NFL and the 33rd annual Inland Empire All-Star Classic, El Clasico. It's coming up January 13th at Centennial High School. It's all brought to you by our good friends at Spoiled. Quick quality oil change. You'll be spoiled by great customer service and low prices. What more can you ask for? Spoiled. We love you. Ken Sporting Goods, more than 40 years in the Inland Empire, bringing you all your sporting gear needs. And, you know, the Letterman's jackets. They do embroidery. They've got helmets. They got high tops. They got everything at Ken Sporting Goods. Boost Performance Training in Corona. Get Boost certified. Check out the Boost Overtime program for all you youth athletes getting ready to go to the high school level. And Catalano Motors in Corona off Temescal Canyon Road. You can buy, you can trade, you can finance a new to you car or truck or SUV or even a minivan if you're Jeff.
Yes, I love the minivan.
Jeff lives life in the
I am
fast lane.
thinking, though, I might go to a Ferrari.
Whoa, that's like going 0 to 60. Isn't there something in between a minivan and a Ferrari?
I'm kind of going through a midlife crisis as of today. I just feel like I need a Ferrari or a Corvette.
Or a Corvette.
Yeah, because I need something with 2 seats so I don't have to put my kids and listen to them talk in the back seat.
Sorry, out of room.
Yeah, my wife's hot enough so I can put her in the front, but the kids, they were bugging the heck out of me this morning.
You know who you remind me of, Jeff?
Who?
It's actually a saying. Do you remember those deep thoughts on Saturday Night Live?
Yes.
With what was his name, Stuart Handy or whatever his name was?
I remember. Yeah.
Well,
Was it Jack Handy?
Jack Handy. That's who it was. One of his deep thoughts was, you should always carry around 2 bags, because that way if people say, "Hey, can you help me with this?" Say, "Sorry, got these 2 bags." Jeff's that guy.
I have 3 bags. I got 3 little kids. Yeah, my wife I won't consider a bag because she tells really funny stories, but my 3 little guys, man, they drive me nuts.
Yeah, you better not. All right,
I woke up this morning, they drove me nuts. I'll tell you about that later.
All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, more about the UC Riverside men's basketball team, the national semifinals last night, the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl, and more on the 33rd annual IE All-Star Classic coming up January 13th at Centennial High School. That's Jeff. I'm Pep. We'll be right back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM.
We're small, family-owned, strive for quality pre-owned vehicles. We're not a volume dealer, and we take every deal as personal to us. We're a low-stress environment. We're not a pressure sales house. If you want to shop us, you're more than welcome to shop us. We have, like I said, great rates, competitive financing, a lot of one-owner, clean Carfax, clean title vehicles. As you see, we have Carfax everywhere. That's most important to us, to educate our customers before they make a purchase. We're right off of Ontario, right off a couple exits off the 15 freeway, off Cajalco, off El Cerrito, and we're right on the main drag going into Dos Logos and the crossings. We have great financing, we have great lenders that we're using. We do buy, sell, trade, cash for your car. Whatever we need to do to help accommodate the customer, that's what we're here for. We have a little bit of everything. We start at about $69.95 and go all the way up to $100,000. We have Escalades, we have commuters, we have pickup trucks, we have Jeeps, sport utilities, and if we don't have it, our specialty is finding you exactly what you're looking for.
on the customer here. Believe it or not, that is the biggest thing for customers on an oil change. They just want the convenience of coming in, driving in, getting it done, and driving out. We just greet them, get them going, and they're done in about 10 minutes or so. We don't push any sales on them. We do the oil change, and I think that's what sets us apart is our customer service. Vacuumed and cleaned your windshield for you as well. Everything's looking pretty good. You come into us one time, believe me, we'll spoil you and you'll be ready to come back the next time.
Fellas, you think we could listen to the radio or something?
We're back to the Inland Sports Show. Here are your hosts, Pep Fernandez and Jeff Gorham.
Welcome back to the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE. 1350 AM. We've been talking UC Riverside men's basketball. 33rd Annual Inland Empire All-Star Classic, the biggest game in history. And, of course, the national semifinals last night, the Grande, the Rose Bowl, and the Sugar Bowl. The Sugar Bowl between Alabama and Clemson. In about 30 minutes, we're going to hear from Brandon Dunn from WPDE, my old mentor and sports director in South Carolina, covered the Clemson-Alabama game last night. So we got both of them covered, Jeff, because last night at the Rose Bowl was world-famous intern Angel.
He is everywhere, that guy. He was at the parade. He was at the game.
Were you at the parade, too?
I was at the parade in the morning.
Oh, my. That's a long day.
It was a long day, man. I was engulfed in the Rose Bowl culture. But let me say, there's nothing like the granddaddy of them all. January 1st. You know where great football is.
Georgia and Oklahoma.
Wow.
I was a little disappointed, Angel, because I was looking for world famous to do something viral again. And
Nothing viral.
The stage was set the first time the Rose Bowl had gone to overtime. It was a crazy game, one for the ages. I'm like, the stage is set for world famous to go viral one more time.
He's viral. I don't know what it was, but he's definitely viral.
Got us all sick.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, I went as a spectator this time. So if I would have done something, I would have ended up in a jail cell probably overnight. So I saw Tom Rinaldi. I saw the opportunity, but then I kind of weighed out my pros and cons. Can't afford that third strike.
He would have been like, I remember you.
You could have gone up to Baker Mayfield and tried to shake his hand and then pull it back. That would have been great.
Oh.
That would have been great. But now I got to go home and see my kids and wife.
Oh, my gosh. But, yeah, it was a fantastic game last night. 54-48, double overtime. Georgia wins against Oklahoma. So they advance to the national championship game. It's next Monday night in Atlanta. I've been to the Rose Bowl once. I think it was, I want to say 98. It was Michigan against Washington State when Michigan had like Brian Greasy and Charles Woodson. That was a really, and Ryan Leaf was the quarterback at Washington State. And I just remember like walking into the Rose Bowl. Yeah, remember Ryan Leaf?
That guy, yeah.
Walking into the Rose Bowl and just thinking about all of the great teams and players that have played in that stadium. Like, I know it's UCLA's home field, but in terms of like the Rose Bowl, like it does for me, it doesn't get any bigger than that. They can have the Sugar Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, all those other bowls. They can have those. For me, it like the Rose Bowl, it didn't get anything bigger. Did you feel that way, kind of nostalgic when you walked in there, Angel?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the second year in a row going for me, and every time I've gone, I've coached.
Oh, veteran. Mr. Veteran.
I've been to every Rose Bowl since last year. It's pretty unbelievable. But you mentioned Charles Woodson. He got inducted into the Rose Bowl Hall of Fame last night.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, alongside Mac Brown. And with all the Sooner fans there was a lot of boos. But really, there's not a spectacle like it. You know, the B-2 stealth bomber goes over.
Yeah, that was super cool.
And those Americans flex their muscles on the national stage. So it's a pretty good time.
Hey! There was some local stuff. We were talking about the parade beforehand. We got to mention this. You were there. Did you see Santiago? Did you see Riverside Community College Band? Oh, they opened the Rose Parade, and then who finished it? The Mission Inn.
Beautiful.
Oh, were they the last one?
They were one of the last ones.
Oh, you know, I did see it because Mayor Rusty Bailey was jumping around in the street.
Yeah, he's always jumping around.
Yeah, it was great.
Crazy lunatic jumping around.
Rusty Bailey had a sack of oranges yelling straight out of Riverside, and he was tossing them to people.
He was?
Like, nice job, Rusty.
And I know we have someone who's going to probably be running up against Rusty in a few years here.
Yeah, Joe.
So.
I'm moving back to Riverside. I'm getting an exploratory committee together.
Taking Riverside back.
I'm taking Riverside back. I'm going to make Riverside great again, for gosh sakes.
There we go.
I got my hat. It's going to be blue, though. I don't like red. It makes me look chunky.
I don't know, Jeff. You might, I don't want to go through a couple colors to find the right one.
I'm telling you, I'm tired of this dumb look. We're going to change it.
That was pretty cool. The Rose Parade and then the Rose Bowl, and now we've got Georgia moving on for an all-SEC championship game next Monday against Alabama. Were you impressed by Georgia? Because I felt like Oklahoma might have been the better team. Like, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, in that first half, I mean, you watched the Sooners move up and down the field pretty much at ease. You're wondering where that stellar Georgia defense was, but in the second half, they really turned things around. And you got to think about, it was a heavyweight fight. I mean, Georgia comes back, 24 unanswered points. They lose the lead they gained, and it's just back and forth, back and forth. It's a shame that someone had to lose that game, really.
Now, your boy Kurt Sandoval at ABC7, he had a front row seat, didn't he? Wasn't he on the sidelines or behind the end zone or somewhere?
He was right there. I think Michelle was about to run into him after he scored the game winner.
Did it really?
Yeah, he ran right into him. Like, Kurt has his phone out if you rewatch it, and the game-winning score literally runs right into his lap.
Did he get video of that?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, it's probably on his Twitter then,
probably
right?
on his Twitter, right there.
All right, go follow Kurt Sandoval, ABC7 on Twitter right now, friend of the program, and I guess you could say Angel's new boss.
My guy.
Your guy.
Man, he's no Pep Fernandez. I don't care what anybody says. But he is married to someone I like.
Yeah, that's right.
Jeannie's
Velasco.
Yikes.
So Baker Mayfield was out there, and he was making some pretty good throws, and there was a couple other throws that people were criticizing. Not the biggest guy on the field.
No.
I know a lot of people are saying, well, you know, he's not I know when you do the eyeball test, like he's not like an NFL body type of a quarterback. But were you impressed? Did you like Baker Mayfield? He's the Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah, being there in person, there's something about watching a great quarterback carve up a defense on TV. But when you're there in person, you see the plays break down. You see really how hard these throws are. And I think Baker Mayfield's got a case for himself thanks to a guy like a Russell Wilson who necessarily doesn't fit that prototypical build.
Drew Brees isn't real huge.
Yeah. So Baker could, I mean, he's got that winning intangible too, just thrown in there, but he didn't have it last night.
Jeff was comparing him to Johnny Manziel. And, like, I get it. I see some, but come on. He's not, like, off the deep end like Johnny Football.
Oh, no. Johnny Football, I'm telling you, man, he's a drunk, and he's probably hanging out, and he's not going to be playing in the Canadian Football League.
Better not take my boy Ricky.
He's going to play back in He's going to play in the new XFL.
There we go.
Is that
that's coming back.
What's it?
Did you know? You think I'm kidding around? The XFL is coming back.
What cities? Have they named the cities?
No, but they're going to make an announcement, though, in the next couple of weeks. I know Cullen just shook his head. He knows it's coming back. Am I right?
I think the IE could have a team.
That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
You know what I mean? Like outside. We're still in the LA market, but outside of the city in Orange County. Let's put a team out here.
The Riverside Ratchets. But you remember the rules on that, the XFL? Remember there was no fair catches? Do you remember all this stuff?
I just remember he hate me. That's the only thing I remember.
He hate me. He's like 57 years old now, probably. But no, they're going to announce that the XFL is coming back. No joke.
They were in what, Las Vegas?
Yeah.
I don't even remember what cities they were in. There was a couple of them.
They need to put them in the NASCAR cities. They put them in NASCAR cities, they'll do well. Think about it. That's how the WCW or WWE or WBDs, they're always in those. They do very well in the NASCAR cities, and it would be a great way to fill stadiums in those areas.
Same audience, right?
Yeah. I'm telling you, I can't wait.
I think the IE needs one.
Johnny Manziel is going to be the first pick of the draft. I'm telling you now, he's going to be the first pick of the draft.
If he doesn't end up in Canada.
He's not going to. He's going to play in the XFL.
They could play on the infield of Auto Club Speedway. Think about it.
That would be
It's already built.
That would be sweet. Or
they could have
Santa Anita.
No, they could have a race going on in the game in the middle.
I'm telling you,
think about that, the spectacle.
I can't wait for the cheerleaders. Oh, by the way, we got to do a whole other topic because we have Angel here for a while. We got to do a whole other topic on cheerleaders I've seen on the road, and I saw a great couple teams this week.
From last week, right?
Oh my gosh! But I'm telling you, Seattle University had the prettiest girls. I mean, when they looked over at me, I blushed. I couldn't even talk. I just couldn't.
Wait, where were you? Because you were giving us a live report from one of the cities, and you said, "Oh wait, hold on."
Oh, that was another one.
A cheerleader
Utah Valley. A Utah Valley cheerleader walked by me while I was doing the remote and smiled at me, and I was almost speechless. But when I got to Seattle, and I was really sad, and all this rain coming down,
wear flannel and drink coffee.
No.
Oh, doom and gloom.
They were better looking than the University of Oregon cheerleaders.
No.
Yes, they were. They were better looking than SCs. They were dynamite.
I was like, no,
I'm telling you,
that's
dynamite.
That's fake news.
Jeff, I don't know if you've been watching the news lately. That's kind of a touchy issue.
No, I can say they're pretty cheerleaders. I didn't say anything else. They were beautiful. And I do. I look at the snack bar and the cheerleaders. Why wouldn't I?
The two most important factors.
Yeah, I mean, if they have good nachos and if their cheerleaders are really pretty. And I'm telling you, very, very pretty girls up in Seattle.
So the Jeff Gorham seal of approval.
Seattle University. I'm going to send my kids there. Based on the cheerleaders and the nachos.
Well, your sons will appreciate that then, right?
Yes, you're darn right.
This is how we game plan, Angel, behind the scenes when we game plan for UC Riverside basketball broadcast. Like, hey, you know what? UCSB, they've got this guy, he's a local guy from Oaks Christian. He's going for 22 a game. And Jeff's like, yeah, but you know what? There's a really good Italian place, right off campus. We should go eat over there.
Hey, they used to throw tortillas at the first basket up in the Thunderdome for UC Santa Barbara. I wish they still did that. I'm telling you, man, I'd be grabbing them and eating them during the broadcast.
That's a true story. That's probably true.
It is true.
That's the truest thing you've said.
I'm telling you, that is, man. But yeah, Seattle University, I love you girls. Thank you.
Why don't you gather yourself, Jeff? We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more with world-famous intern Angel. He was at the Rose Bowl last night, right around the corner. We also have Brandon Dunn from ABC 15 in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, covered the Sugar Bowl last night. And more thoughts on Justin Bell taking over the UC Riverside men's basketball team as they get ready for the Big West Conference opener at Cal State Fullerton tomorrow night. Jeff will have the call live at GoHighlanders.com. We'll be right back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports 1350 AM.
Hey, woman. Hey, woman.
played once upon a time at Centennial High School. I was actually on the first ever CIF championship team back in 2000, and then my senior year we won it again. I'd say that's my passion because I've done it. You know, I know exactly where these athletes are at. I know what their mindset is right now. I know how hard it is to, number one, find a performance coach who can take you to the next level. What sets us apart has to be, you know, how we work with our athletes and what we know. We can take an athlete and you know, help them reach their athletic potential, you know, help them, you know, prevent injuries, help get them stronger. I know every single athlete who steps into this gym. I know exactly where they're at, and I'm going to progress them every week. If you're not getting results, then, you know, really what's it about? We're going to deliver something that's measurable, you know, in terms of speed, power, you know, strength, agility. So how you guys doing? My name is Coach Ray Bass. We're here at the Boost Performance Center today, and here with the one and only Pep Fernandez, and we're going to go over a real basic vertical jump. All right, we're going to teach you guys the technique and its progression. This is a great drill for really any sports. Really emphasizes pure power production through the hips, and power is really important for basically any type of athlete, whether you're a football player, track, soccer, basketball. You know, we all want to be powerful, strong athletes, so we're going to go over that today. All right, so first things first, I'm going to have Jacob go ahead and stand with his feet underneath his hips. So you want to have your toes pointed forward. You want your feet to be about hip width, all right? He's going to have his shoulders flexed, all right, in front of his body. So his arms up in front. Okay, now, the most important part here is what's called a counter movement. And what that is I'm going to throw my shoulders back into extension, all right? I'm going to flex my hips, all right? So the shoulders are going to be flexed, and the hips are going to, the shoulders are going to be extended and the hips are going to be flexed, all right? And then we follow that up with shoulder flexion and hip extension. It's got to be really fast, all right? So right now, I'm just going to show you the first phase of that. So Jacob, I want you to drop your hips into flexion. I want you to throw your arms back into extension when I say go. Ready? Go. Right there. So come up. That's the most important movement there. So after that, it's the landing, all right? So we want to get as high as we can. As I go up, I want to extend through my knees, on my toes pointed up, and when we land, I'm going to land back into that hip flexion, arms extended, and I want to stick the landing, all right? So we're going to go over it now. So now we're going to actually jump here, Jacob. I want to see that counter movement. Go ahead and walk a little bit closer to the hurdle here. We're going to extend on the way up as we elevate, extend through the hips and the knees, stick the landing, throw the arms into extension. Here we go, ready? On you.
Focus on the customer here. Believe it or not, that is the biggest thing for customers on an oil change. They just want the convenience of coming in, driving in, getting it done, and driving out. Just greet them, get them going, and they're done in about 10 minutes or so. We don't push any sales on them. We do the oil change, and I think that's what sets us apart is our customer service. Vacuumed and cleaned your windshield for you as well. Everything's looking pretty good. Come into us one time, believe me, we'll spoil you and you'll be ready to come back the next time.
And welcome back. It's the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. We leave no stone unturned. We span the globe to find all the biggest stories from out of the Inland Empire.
And we break them.
And intern Cullen over here found a real juicy one because we're the official show of record for the 2018 Winter Olympics.
Oh, that's right, we are.
The Inland Empire.
Did you know that we are the official station of the Winter Olympics?
Let's go straight to the spoiled quick quality oil change update desk as Cullen is standing by with some breaking news for all the folks in the Inland Empire. Regarding the Winter Olympics. Go ahead.
They announced the U.S. Olympic rosters over the New Year's weekend, and on the women's national team, there's a girl from Eastvale, Kayla Barnes, played high school hockey in New Hampshire, but her hometown is listed as Eastvale, California, a.k.a. the IE.
Hockey hotbed out there, off the 15.
Yes.
There you go.
I love it.
There you go. We need to find her, get an interview on the Inland Sports Show.
We do. But I'm
See, she's on Twitter, Cullen. Do your thing. Hey, Twitter, do your thing right now.
He did it that fast.
Slide in the DMs, Cullen.
Holy cow.
we need an interview over
That
here.
is a great way
what does that mean?
I break the ice.
Oh, I slide in the DMs all the time.
Whoa. Guys, it's a family show. What does sliding in the DMs mean? I've heard of I'm sure I've done it before, but what?
DMs.
Whoa! I slid DMs.
Pretty late at night, too.
Wow!
The Angels. I mean, that's how we line up a lot of interviews, right?
That's horrible. You guys, they have to have a different name than that. Hey, is somebody calling?
All right, let's go to the hotline right now.
Oh my golly!
Here on the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports 1350 AM. Who is this?
Parrish.
What was that?
Parrish?
Parrish?
Yeah.
Hi, Parrish. How are you?
Pretty good. Can't complain. How you guys doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. What do you have to say today?
I was calling about the UCR basketball coach being fired.
So what do you think? Do you think they should have gave Coach Cutts a little bit more time, or do you like the move to Justin Bell as they go into conference play?
I like the move to Justin Bell, bringing some new energy with a new face. But I also think that UCR could be doing a lot better, especially with all the talent in the Inland Empire. I think that every year they should have at least 4 or 5 guys from the IE on the team that can get this team over the hump. I mean, they haven't been good since forever. And there's a boiling point of talent in the Empire that just doesn't get taken advantage of from any of the schools in the Empire. And I think that recruiting-wise, they need to do a better job of getting this talent to stay home. And it always starts with one kid. They get one kid to stay, and then that'll trickle down to the next kid, to the next kid, to the next kid, to the next kid. I think that's the approach they need to have, because a lot of this talent is just leaving and never coming back. And then you see them other places.
You know, I agree with you as far as the hotbed in Riverside, because there are, I mean, you could take really 5 guys from the Riverside area or the Inland Empire and go out and win. You could win the Pac-12 if you took the 5 best guys in the area every single year. But the toughest thing for UC Riverside, and being that I'm around the program, is that you really you got to have like a 3-4, 3-5, 3-7 to get in there, and you have to qualify. That's the toughest thing. And, you know, you have Dikembe Martin, Johnny Kennedy, Dominic Pickett, those local guys.
Brandon Rosser.
Valley, yeah. I mean, those guys were students first, which is wonderful. The toughest thing is to get guys into UC Riverside, you have to have that GPA. And a lot of guys, honestly, even if you do have that GPA, a lot of guys in Riverside, they look at the rec center and they look at the you know, they walk in, they go, man, there's PE guys playing in my gym. It's tough to recruit there. And, you know, I don't really think it was Coach Cutts' fault, because he did recruit locally. He did get the guys, like you said, Rosser, Pickett, Kennedy, and Martin. Yeah. And they were starting to turn that corner. But the toughest thing is, it really is a very, very difficult place to get players to get into the school, for one, and another is to get them to want to stay in Riverside. That's another tough thing, because there is no arena on campus, and that makes it, you know, doubly difficult. They don't want to live on campus, which makes that even harder. So it's a tough sell for a lot of guys here in the IE as well. I'm sure you could.
True. That's true. Well, thank you. I appreciate you guys for taking my call.
Yeah, we appreciate it, too. We're excited to see Justin Bell in action on actually tomorrow night now against Cal State Fullerton. Do you think they're going to win their conference opener?
No, unfortunately. I think the guards at Fullerton are a little bit too talented. I think they're going to lose this one between 10 to 15 points.
Yeah, you got John Smith over there. John Smith of John W. North, and was the head coach of RCC. Yep. I mean, he's one of those guys. RCC. He's one of those guys that could be in the mix as far as head coach eventually at UC Riverside. He has a pulse on Riverside. Everybody here likes him. I think he would bring in a lot of booster guys because he's so still in tune with the community. His daughter's a great player at Cal. His son plays at Fullerton. I think he would be an ideal fit. I don't know if Coach Bell is going to stay. I mean, that's up to the AD. If she chooses him, that's a cool thing because he's really been the recruiting coordinator. But if she does choose outside of the area, or she chooses outside of Coach Bell, it would be a disservice if he is not mentioned at the top of that list.
I completely agree with you on that one. Coach Smith would be a great hire.
Yeah, he would. And like you said, we're going to be supportive to Coach Bell because we like UC Riverside. We're with the team. I think he does a great job. But like I said, if they go outside of Coach Bell, Coach John Smith needs to be the number one guy on that list.
I definitely agree with you.
All right, well, thank you for your call, Parrish, and hope to hear from you again.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Parrish. Yeah, so, a lot of people, it's getting a lot of run on social media that, people are saying, wow, just the timing of it, right before conference play, and that everyone has kind words to say about head coach Dennis Cutts. So a lot of people are taken aback a little bit, like, okay, the timing of it right before conference play, and Coach Cutts, such a good guy, well respected in the basketball arena. Now you got Justin Bellin, who's the associate head coach, the interim head coach now, and a lot of people, including myself and you, Jeff, we're rallying around Coach Bell, and we want to see the team do well. It's going to be tough to go on the road the first week of conference play. 2 tough games on the road, Fullerton and a much improved UC Santa Barbara team on Saturday night. Yeah,
I mean, and it's just the timing's off. Like I've said, I think it sets back their recruiting a couple of years because those young men that signed early with UC Riverside, they can decommit, and it's hard enough to get kids that, with the kids that they brought in out of state. You have to have a 3.7 to get into UC Riverside out of state. That's ridiculous. So now you would have to go out and find other guys and maybe your second tier recruits that you didn't get. And they've probably already signed. So that's going to set this coach back, Coach Bell back, and it will set back the next coach. So that's 2 years of recruits that you're going to have a hard time dealing with. And I think this firing was a little questionable going into the league or conference.
It's tough, whether it's UC Riverside or anywhere. Other school. Yeah, football, when you bring in a new coach, even the guys that are still in the program, when you bring in a new coach, are you still in same standing with the new coach? You know what I mean? Like, you're not one of their guys.
No.
Do they? Is the coach still going to use you the same way? Are you still going to be in a favorable position with the new coach? The guys, like you said, who have been recruited by or maybe on the verge of signing with UC Riverside, do they reopen their recruiting? Do they look elsewhere now? Because again, at least going forward, we don't know who the head coach is going to be on a permanent basis. Justin Bell's the interim head coach, and we're excited about that.
Yes.
But ultimately, Tamika Smith-Jones and the athletic department, they're going to have to decide who's the guy going forward.
Well, and I think with this firing, and I don't know her, but I would think that you would have somebody in mind to hire. If you're just going to fire somebody to fire them, that's kind of mean. But if you have somebody in mind that you're going to bring in, then you pull the trigger. But she said that, through her statement, that she was going to go on a national search for a new head coach. That says right there that there isn't somebody in the mix, and Coach Bell might just be, I hope he's not, but he just might be the temporary guy.
But part of that might just be protocol, right?
I mean,
it might be the process. Hey, this is what we have to do. We have to open it up, look at a bunch of names from across the country. Even though you might have your own idea, that you're not going to share publicly, but your own idea of who the guy might be.
And there are reasons why they fire college football coaches around the same time every year, and that is due to the recruiting process. Basketball is a different animal, and their recruiting process has already passed. You do this before the season, you do this after the season, in my opinion. As a basketball coach, it's not football. It might be the number one sport at your at your institution, but you do it after the season.
Because ultimately, you could be a great coach.
Yes.
But you need some Jimmies and Joes.
Yes.
If you don't have some guys in there based on recruiting, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, and I don't think his kids quit on him. We've seen him on a daily basis.
No, they don't.
They have not quit on him. The staff was behind Coach Cutts. The players were behind Coach Cutts. They had a game plan going into every single game, and he never stopped coaching them. Even when they're down 20, he is coaching that ball club from the, Cuts I think did an outstanding job bringing them to just being at this point where they are with the kind of kids he has. So, and he has kids graduate. Very few kids have left the program, and if they've left it, it's been because it was on their own problems, academics, disciplinary issues. It hasn't been because of Coach Cuts.
Justin Bell will make his head coaching debut tomorrow night on the road at Cal State Fullerton. We tweeted out the phone number, so if you want to dial in as well and give us your thoughts on UC Riverside, let us know. Also, we've been talking about the Raiders situation, their head coaching spot. Is John Gruden coming back? It looks like he is. Is he a good fit? Do you want to see him back? You can hit us up about that as well, about the Raiders situation. And who you got in the national championship game. Are you going to go with Georgia or Alabama, or maybe you simply just don't care because it's an all-SEC final? Personally, I'm having a hard time getting excited about this one. Am I the only one? I just feel like, okay, well, if I might watch it.
I mean, I can see that an all-SEC kind of is what people were hoping the college football playoff would prevent. You don't want to see two teams banging it out
Exactly.
in the SEC every year, but, if it's meant to happen, it's meant to happen. The SEC brings it every year, and we see it. But a lot of people are kind of questioning now, should Ohio State have gotten a berth in? I mean, they looked so darn good against USC at my team's expense. But Big Ten had a great run in the bowl season, and now you're wondering, was the Big Ten champion really the team deserving of that national title spot?
Tell you what, man, Ohio State looked pretty good against USC. I know there's a lot of people on social media right now wanting the extended playoff format, 8 teams. I think
kill 64 teams and go at it.
It was a local coach. It might have been Coach Kurt Bruick. I'm not sure. One of the coaches said even 16 teams. Like
play all year. That's it. Just finish.
Yeah. I wouldn't complain, right? That's just more football for all of us.
I agree.
So if you want to talk about the national championship game as well, who you got, or maybe you just simply don't care who the Raiders should go with, John Gruden, is he the guy? And what do you think about Justin Bell taking over the UC Riverside men's basketball team beginning tomorrow night as they play on the road at Cal State Fullerton in their Big West Conference opener? When we come back, we'll talk more about the semifinals last night, the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl, and Brandon Dunn from WPDE ABC 15 in South Carolina will join us as well as he covered the game last night, Clemson and Alabama. We'll be right back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports 1350 AM.
We think it would be very prudent.
I played once upon a time at Centennial High School. I was actually on the first ever CIF championship team back in 2000, and then my senior year we won it again. I think that's my passion because I've done it. I know exactly where these athletes are at. I know what their mindset is right now. I know how hard it is to, number one, find a performance coach who can take you to the next level. What sets us apart has to be, how we work with our athletes and what we know. We can take an athlete and help them reach their athletic potential, help them, prevent injuries, help get them stronger. I know every single athlete who steps into this gym. I know exactly where they're at, and I'm going to progress them every week. If you're not getting results, then, what's it about? We're going to deliver something that's measurable, in terms of speed, power, strength, agility.
We're back to the Inland Sports Show. Here are your hosts, Pep Fernandez and Jeff Gorham.
Welcome back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. Proudly brought to you by Spoiled, quick quality oil change, Ken Sporting Goods, Boost Performance Training, and Catalano Motors in Corona. I always get a little nervous when Jeff's phone is just blowing up in the middle of the show. All good things?
Always good things. Sometimes, I always want to put a special guest on, but no crazy special guest today.
No crazy special guest?
No. But people are listening, that's for sure. Because I think we struck a chord with a few people out there regarding this UCR stuff.
Well, I think so many people are just invested in UC Riverside. They want to see the Highlanders do well, so a lot of people have opinions on how to get the Highlanders back on track.
And I will say this, back in the 70s and 80s, and being a basketball aficionado and lived and breathed basketball, UC Riverside was the biggest thing there was. I remember going to a game at UC Riverside played University of Texas at Raincross Square.
Wow.
It was a UCR home game, and Riverside would play what they should have done is the convention center shouldn't have sold the court because they had a really nice court, and they should have recommissioned it to where it was just for basketball or sporting events. But they put a wall down the middle of the convention center. And I'll tell you what, in the 80s and 70s and 80s, Raincross Square would have been a perfect venue for Division I basketball and would have supported UC Riverside. But when you fire John Macy, who'd been there forever, you fire an AD that had been there forever, and you piss off half of Riverside, it's hard to get that fan base back. So
you're talking like old school Riverside.
Old school Riverside. Those guys have not come back since John Macy's been fired. And I don't think this firing helps the cause at all as far as bringing, because I do think that Cutts had been entrenched in Riverside and enough people liked him. So I think you're going to push people away, which is tough because I want to see Riverside flourish. You want to see Riverside flourish. The people listening want to see Riverside flourish, and they want to see him do well. There's another team across town that is all in.
I mean, brand new arena.
They are all in.
Great charismatic coaches. I mean, yeah, it's tough to compete.
I mean, and you look at, they're all in, so it's a tough situation for UC Riverside.
Well, we're going to talk more about the UC Riverside men's basketball team, but right now we're going to go to the Spoiled quick quality oil change celebrity hotline. He was covering the Sugar Bowl last night, Alabama and Clemson. He's a dear friend of mine. It is the great Brandon Dunn. Brandon, what is up, brother?
How you doing there, my friend? Happy New Year from the East Coast.
Hey, so you're on your way back to South Carolina right now, right?
I just passed over the South Carolina line and on my way to Columbia, and then hop, skip, and a jump down back to the beach of Old Myrtle Beach, yes.
Oh, great place to live.
Brandon is the ABC 15 sports director, WPDE, covering the Sugar Bowl last night. Man, Alabama looking great. I know you're there covering the Clemson Tigers, but Alabama going back to their roots, playing some great defense. That big fellow, what was his name, Deron Payne or whatever his name was. I mean, what was it like being there, Brandon? What's going to stick out when you go back home and tell your friends about this game? What are you going to remember about this one?
Well, you just pointed it out. It was the Clemson, the Alabama defense. The game started right off the get-go, opening kickoff. Clemson got hit in the mouth, and they never responded. That was pretty much it. You could tell that last year's national championship loss was very fresh in the mind of all those Alabama players, Nick Saban, the coaching staff, and so on and so forth, that they came ready to play. And Clemson, I believe, I wouldn't say they took them for granted, but I wasn't quite sure that they were ready to be hit in the mouth the way they were, and it just kind of spiraled from there. It really reminded me a lot of the LSU-Alabama BCS national championship game, which I was fortunate enough to cover in the Superdome back in 2012, where Alabama just crushed LSU in that title game. It reminded me a lot of that type of physical play from Alabama.
Well, let me ask you this then, Brandon. So, being a West Coast guy, we don't see a whole lot of these SEC schools, but do you feel like Clemson out of the ACC against Alabama, was that more like the national championship game for the third year in a row, or do you feel like Georgia really is maybe the second or the best team in the country right now to go up against Alabama for that national title?
I believe Georgia has a chance. The only problem I see in this game coming up next Monday is the fact that Georgia doesn't play defense. I mean, that was evident from the Rose Bowl, that 2 overtime win for them. And they're not going to be able to muster much against that Alabama defense if it continues to play the way it did last night. You know, and I hate to say it, and I know a lot of people around the country don't want to hear this, but it looks to me that Alabama's going to win yet another national championship. Their defense is just way too strong. They do enough on offense to put enough points on the board, and then they just rely on their defense to do the rest, which has been their MO for as long as I can remember.
Now, Clemson had been cruising this season. I mean, they looked strong again. Were you surprised the way that Alabama was able to handle them?
I was actually really surprised. I was really disappointed in the play of the offensive line. You know, those guys are usually the bread and butter of that Clemson offense. They're usually very good at protecting the quarterback, giving Kelly time to do what he needs to do. Last night, they broke down quite a few times. I thought Kelly, too, was tiptoeing a little bit. I thought he bailed out of pocket more than he should have on several occasions where he probably should have stayed in there a little longer, rifled it to really good receivers that he has. And I think you saw Dabo really get onto him there in the second half of the game on the sideline there about that. But I was disappointed with the play of the offensive line, and even Mitch Hyatt after the game in the locker room said, you know what, we didn't counter what they brought to the table, and that's on us.
Well, you know, Alabama might have won the game, but I would take Dabo Swinney as my head coach over Nick Saban 10 times out of 10. Man, what's it like covering this guy at Clemson? Because he seems like a real class act, and hopefully you guys can keep him at Clemson for a long, long time, but I'm sure he's going to be a hot commodity somewhere because all he does is win.
Well, he does. And Dabo, you know, the good thing about Dabo is he's just a really laid-back guy. He has a good time with his program. The players are laid back. They're fun to cover. They have a good time. And that was really a lot of the talk this week down at the Sugar Bowl between all the media guys in South Carolina that covered this Clemson team, and then going in and covering Alabama. It was just 2 completely different media days. Alabama very uptight. They didn't goof around. It was all business, very much like Nick Saban. And Clemson is completely the opposite. They have a good time. They're fun to cover, like I mentioned. And, you know, and it's paid off for them quite a few times in the last couple of years. It didn't pay off for them last night, and I'm not quite sure that their game plan really wasn't up to snuff to what Saban had drawn up to prepare for Clemson having a month to do so, when Clemson obviously had a little less time to prepare for Alabama because of the ACC championship game.
We got Brandon Dunn from WPDE, ABC 15 sports director in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, on his way back from the Sugar Bowl, live here on the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. Brandon, take us behind the scenes just a little bit at the Sugar Bowl. How crazy is it to be a member of the media and covering that game between 2 schools who have played for the national championship the previous 2 years? I would assume it's like a zoo, but go ahead and tell us what it's like.
Well, you know, this year was a little bit different because this game wasn't the national championship game, so there wasn't as much hype surrounding it necessarily from a journalistic side of it, so to speak. You didn't have the national media there as you had the last 2 years, where it was for the whole ball of wax. So you had the ESPNs, you had the Fox Sports, and you had everybody's cousin's dog at the national championship. This time around, it wasn't necessarily like that. It was more so the local medias from Alabama and South Carolina that were primarily the guys there covering this game. Now, of course, ESPN was there, but it wasn't as hyped up as it had been the previous 2 years when I covered the 2 national championships the last 2 years in Tampa and in Arizona.
Brandon, this is Jeff. I am Pep's partner here on the show. I had a couple quick questions talking about bigwigs. He said you're his mentor, which means that you were around. You were around when there was a mini Pep. What was mini Pep like when he first started out? Because he's a big name out here in the Inland Empire. I can't speak there.
Well, and he should be. He should be. He learned from one of the best. I'm
See, I just want to.
Here's the funny thing about Pep. When Pep came to me, he's a Humboldt State guy, so Humboldt State, you gotta love him. He came to me and he wanted to learn. That was what I really loved about Pep. Is he wanted to learn everything that you can learn about being a sports broadcaster. He wasn't the type of guy like today in this time and age. You know, you get these kids out of school that, you know, they think they can go right to Market 10 or ESPN or so on and so forth, and they don't have to pick up a camera. They don't have to go and shoot an interview by themselves or shoot a package or learn how to edit or any of that other stuff. And that wasn't Pep. Pep was like, teach me everything so I can learn it all, so when I get down the road, you know, I can be a better person from a sports broadcasting standpoint, because I can do everything and I can tell a boss, hey, I can do that. Just send me out, let me do it. And that's what I liked about Pep. He took it all in and ran with it, baby, is all I can say.
Well, he's still doing all those things, though. That's the problem, is he's still going around filming water polo, golf. He's doing everything. The guy's a maniac.
I'm telling you, and that's what it's about. I mean, that's going to get you places. You know, it's like I said, this day and age, man, a lot of these people that are in these big markets don't know diddly squat about how to run a camera or how to properly interview somebody or how to even put a lawn mic on, for crying out loud. You know, it's absurd. I mean, our business is, I mean, I hate to say it, but it's really got watered down because it's just to the point now, it's like, who can we get paying $30,000 a year, and they're gonna love every minute of it, but not know how to do anything. That's you know, the business is really it's really different from it was when Pep and I were together in Eureka way back when, and even when I started, you know, back at Ole Miss in the mid '90s. It's completely different beast than it was 25 years ago.
Yeah, now they can just get like ex-high school basketball coaches in here and doing this job.
That's Jeff.
That's me. But no, I want to know this, because you know he milked cows up in the wherever
Reading. Yeah,
Reading.
that was before Humboldt.
Yeah, and was he a ladies' man? Was he? Because he
had a girlfriend. If I recall, wasn't she a soccer player or something? Didn't you have a girlfriend who was a soccer player back then?
Pull the curtain back, Pep.
No, I was going out with a girl, but it wasn't the one I was living with. The girl, remember Julie Jo Air Williams? Okay. She was.
Okay.
But now I don't know if you know this, but he really outclassed himself. He's got a beautiful wife that's way too good looking for him, and his kids I'm still questioning because they're good looking too.
Well, you know, sometimes it happens. It's like my dad always said, you know, you fell off a cliff and won a high diving contest. That's kind of what happened with me too, with my wife and my kids. So, you know, what are you gonna do? Sometimes you throw the line out there and you come back with a whopper. So it kind of happens that way.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
He definitely outkicked the coverage. That's for sure.
Well, Brandon, we appreciate it. I got to get him off the line before I get all my secrets. But, you know, I will say this, Brandon, I talk to a lot of local, like, elementary school kids in this area, and I always tell them two stories about my first job with you, because you freaked me out twice. One was the big one when you said you wanted to go home and see your family back in Mississippi, and you needed me to fill in on the air doing as the sports anchor. That freaked me out, and I always share that story because I told the kids I could have said, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. You know, it's too overwhelming. This is going to make me too nervous. But I said yes, and I did it. And the other time was, and I don't know if you remember this one, was we went out to an Arcata High School baseball practice, and you know the news was on at 5:30. We got back at 4, so that's an hour and a half. That's 90 minutes, and we sat down, and I still remember your desk and those big 3/4 tapes. And you looked at me, and you're like, hey, you know what? I need you to do the package on the Arcata Tigers. And I remember telling you, oh, I don't think I can do this. I only got 90 minutes. That's not nearly long enough. And now I look back and think, man, 90 minutes, that's an eternity. I'm so glad Brandon Dunn made me do that.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that 90 minutes, you could have cut 14 packages in 90 minutes
right.
now. You know, shoot. Well, I mean, like, you know, that's exactly how it was for me back in the day, man. People just threw me in the mix and said, hey, get it done. You know, do it. That's the only way you're going to learn. And that's the problem with the schools these days. None of these kids that are in journalism school actually have hands-on abilities. It's all books, and it's not books. You know, it's just not. You've got to get in there, and you got to get your hands dirty. And I don't know what they're teaching these kids these days, but it's definitely not journalism.
Well, Brandon, safe travels back home as you are now in South Carolina. We always appreciate it. And, brother, it was good catching up with you as well because, man, we haven't talked in a while, so we'll have to make this more of a habit. Yeah,
definitely so, man. And, hey, tell your partner in crime there to slap you around a little bit when you need it.
Hey, trust me, I'm 6'8", 285 pounds. I'm slapping this little guy around as much as I can.
Perfect. He needs it. You know, it's good. You know, he gets it at home, he gets it at work. It's good for him.
Yeah, exactly.
What can you do? All right, fellas. Well, y'all take it easy. Thanks for allowing me on the show. I enjoyed it.
Brandon, you're the best. Thanks, brother.
All right, I'll see you guys.
Hey, thank you.
All right, that's Brandon Dunn, WPDE, ABC 15 sports director. What?
He just gave me free rein to slap you around.
He did, yeah. And if he says it, I guess it's good as gold.
Can't wait to beat you up after this segment.
You know Brandon's from the South because he has all those lines. Like, you jump off a cliff and you win what do you say, like a high diving contest? And throw out a line, you catch a whopper sometimes.
Wow.
I remember one of the things, besides we'd always go out to lunch every day, but I remember the other thing he used to always say was nonsense. And that's something that I say all the time. You can ask my kids, I always say, that's nonsense. Like, he used to always say, hey, you know what, Humboldt State, you know, they're gonna lose to, I don't know, Western Washington. That's nonsense. Like, he used to always say nonsense. And for whatever reason, of all the things he taught me, I still say nonsense to this day. That's nonsense.
Well, he sounded like a fun guy to be around.
He was a good dude.
A good mentor for Mini.
He's covered a couple national championship games. He just came back from the Sugar Bowl. Like, he's done a lot of cool things.
Dude, you covered.
Look at me. Look where I ended up.
You covered JC football this year.
We covered Valley College hard.
We covered. We covered UC Riverside basketball, my friend.
We cover them hard, man.
Yes, we do.
Not UCR basketball. The UC Riverside.
There you go.
Basketball.
The UC Riverside.
The University of California, Riverside. When we come back, we're going to talk about our Mr. Football Award in the Inland Empire as we circle back around to high school football. We're going to talk about that. Of course, the 33rd annual IE All-Star Classic is coming up. And a little bit later in the show, in about 45 minutes, we'll have Jim Clover. And he's the mastermind, the guru behind the IE All-Star Classic.
I don't like that guy. He's shifty.
He's shifty.
He is shifty.
He brought you jelly beans.
He made me pass out. He's shifty.
Oh, that's right. He did. back in your playing days.
Yeah, I love him.
But Jim Clover's got some big news again about the scholarships. They've passed out more than $175,000 in scholarship money since the IE All-Star Classic began 33 years ago. So they're doing it again, and we're going to tell you how you can fill out the application and apply, because the deadline is Saturday. It's coming up, but we're going to tell you how you can do that with Jim Clover as well. We'll be right back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM.
I swim here every summer in my adult life. Every summer, there she is. Lotion. Oily. Oily. I can't take this no more!
The Inland Empire's home for all.
We're small, family-owned, strive for quality pre-owned vehicles. We're not a volume dealer, and we take every deal as personal to us. We're a low-stress environment. We're not a pressure sales house. If you want to shop us, you're more than welcome to shop us. We have, like I said, great rates, competitive financing, a lot of one-owner, clean Carfax, clean title vehicles. As you see, we have Carfax everywhere. That's most important to us, to educate our customers before they make a purchase. We're right off of Ontario, right off a couple exits off the 15 freeway, off Cajalco, off El Cerrito, and we're right on the main drag going into Dos Logos and the crossings. We have great financing, we have great lenders that we're using. We do buy, sell, trade, cash for your car, whatever we need to do to help accommodate the customer, that's what we're here for. We have a little bit of everything. We start at about $69.95 and go all the way up to $100,000. We have Escalades, we have commuters, we have pickup trucks, we have Jeeps, sport utilities, and if we don't have it, our specialty is finding you exactly what you're looking for.
Focus on the customer here. Believe it or not, that is the biggest thing for customers on an oil change. They just want the convenience of coming in, driving in, getting it done, and driving out. just greet them, get them going, and they're done in about 10 minutes or so. We don't push any sales on them. We do the oil change, and I think that's what sets us apart is our customer service. Vacuumed and cleaned your windshield for you as well. Everything's looking pretty good. You come into us one time, believe me, we'll spoil you and you'll be ready to come back the next time.
The typical candidates you're used to, but they're exactly who your company needs. An ideal fit for entry-level positions, internships, and even mentorships. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn more. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
When I close my eyes, I see this thing. It's like this big sign. And the name is in like bright blue neon lights with like purple outline. And this name is just so bright and so sharp that the sign, it just blows up because the name is just so powerful.
We're back to the Inland Sports Show. Here are your hosts, Pep Fernandez and Jeff Gorham.
If I was still in high school, that'd probably be my senior quote. Sometimes you just throw a line in and land a whopper. The great Brandon Dunn, man. He had so many of those Southern sayings.
Now, how did he end up where he was? I mean, how did he end up in Middle California?
Yeah, no, that's like almost Oregon. We're like on the ocean, up the coast.
Yeah, it's all the same to me. Just whatever you were from up north.
Dude,
somewhere.
the TV, it looks like Angel's going in that direction. He's going to find out, and he probably already knows this, that, dude, there's so many small markets, and you bounce around and you move up. I think Brandon was in, I want to say, like Idaho Falls, and then he went to Eureka, California, and then he went to Denison, Texas.
Good morning.
And then he was in like Shreveport. Because I'd stay up with him. He's my mentor. He went to like Shreveport, Louisiana, Shreveport, Bossier City, and then maybe he was Myrtle Beach after that. But he's from the South, so it's like going home for him.
So he had aspirations to move up and do these things, but what if your aspirations are just stay right here in the Inland Empire?
Look at me.
Look at me. I mean, both of us. Angel. I'm telling you, Angel's gonna win a Pulitzer someday. Watch.
See, I'm cashing it all in on Angel and Cullen, and just hoping like one of these guys make it big and they can give us jobs.
That would be great.
But I will say though, Brandon Dunn was breaking down Pep's work ethic. Jeff, we can testify.
Yeah.
This is the hardest working man in sports right here.
He can do anything. I mean, seriously, we were trying to do stuff technically before the show today. We were trying to make a $10,000 piece of equipment into about $150. But we did, though, didn't we try?
We tried.
We're getting there.
2 paper clips and a piece of gum.
Yeah, he's MacGyver. He's mini MacGyver.
See all the technical stuff I've had to learn on the fly. I like teach myself, as problems arise because
MacGyver.
My classes were media history and broadcast writing, and of course the TV and radio classes. Like I didn't, how do you put together audio mixers? I didn't do any of that kind of stuff.
He just made me sound really stupid too. I mean, I literally came out of the coaching box. And I'm around all these professionals.
Need guys like you.
Hey, what do you need me for? I can't do anything. I could tape an ankle. I could write up a pretty good offense. That's about it.
You can dunk a basketball once a month.
I can still dunk once a month.
Once a month. Well, welcome back to the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. Julie Jo Air Williams, if you're out there listening, I don't even know where she lives now. I think she might be in Oregon.
She's a Riverside girl, you said.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because Brandon Dunn brought her up because I lived in a house with soccer players. I was going to play.
That sounds like a dream. That sounds like a dream.
Wasn't that good?
Oh, is this guys soccer or girls soccer?
Well, there was a guy soccer player and a girl soccer player. Oh, so Julie Jo Air Williams, but she was from Riverside Poly. I just thought about that. So Brandon, the girl that she remembered, because we'd have get-togethers at our house. We had a house off campus, and Brandon, being the cool older sportscaster, would come swing by the house and hang out with us.
Wow.
And
that's creepy, actually.
No, he's such a nice guy. I remember he had a Dalmatian dog. I mean, because again, he was from Mississippi. Like he didn't know like a bunch of people. Like he's in Eureka, California. He didn't know anybody. So, but yeah, that girl Julie Jo Air Williams, star soccer player out of Riverside Poly, played at Humboldt State, stud sweeper. That's defense, Jeff.
Sweeper.
Old kickball. But yeah, she was a Riverside Poly girl. That's kind of funny. Bring it back home to the Inland Empire.
Come on, let's talk football.
Are you ready for this?
You're darn right. I love all of these guys. You and I have worked on this list.
We did, and we were trying to narrow it down to 10. And as hard as we tried, it still came out to 11.
Yes, it did.
We couldn't make it 10. We've got 11 finalists for the Mr. Football Award in the Inland Empire. This will go out to the most valuable player in the inland sports coverage area. Ooh. And we've got 11 good ones. And it was really hard. And, of course, I mean, like, look at how they present the Heisman Trophy. It's always like a lot of quarterbacks and a lot of running backs. And maybe a receiver or two will sneak in there. But not a lot of guys on defense, right? It's just how it is.
No one cares about defense.
It is what it is. So when you hear this list, it's going to be, again, like the Heisman Trophy, a lot of quarterbacks, a lot of running backs, and a receiver or two in there.
Should we just say the offensive player of the year, but we'll just, you know, we like you defensive guys, but, you know,
we do like the defense. And we like the offensive linemen, too. But how many O-line guys are winning the Heisman Trophy?
How many defensive guys have good-looking girlfriends? None.
Come on now.
All right, so without further ado, we're going to expand on some of these guys in the coming days as we lead up to the Inland Empire All-Star Classic, when we will name our Mr. Football in the Inland Empire. And again, the numbers don't lie. All you have to do is look at the success of these teams and the stats these guys put up, and it's no doubt why these guys are in the running for Mr. Football in the IE. And again, we're trying to cut it down to 10. Had to be 11. And we're going to put this out on social media as well because we want to hear from you guys as well. We want you to have a voice ultimately in the end. Okay, let's start out. And this is no particular order. We just threw these names down, and this is how the Inland Sports supercomputer squirted them out, Jeff.
Squirted it out. Beep, boop,
Supercomputer.
Squirted it right out.
That's exactly how it did it. Starting off with a couple guys from Marietta Valley. Quarterback Hank Bachmeyer. And receiver Marquis Spiker.
Man, Marquis Spiker, he had the best receiving year of anybody in the history of this area.
And you can't have one without the other, right? You know, if your quarterback is putting up huge stats, he's probably got a receiver as the recipient of a lot of those yards and touchdowns. So you can't have one without the other. That's why we've got Spiker and Bachmeyer. I'm hoping that doesn't split the Marietta Valley vote, having two guys. I don't want it to be something that goes against Marietta Valley because they've got two as finalists for Mr. Football.
And I think Bachmeyer's got another year.
He's a junior, and Spiker is a senior going to the Washington Huskies. And in fact, I believe he already signed in this new early signing period that we had right before Christmas. So Marietta Valley quarterback Hank Bachmeyer and receiver Marquis Spiker. So along those same lines, we turn our attention to Cajon. And quarterback Jaden Daniels and receiver Darren Jones. Again, you can't have one without the other, and both of them led the state of California in passing and receiving, respectively. That's how good they were, and they're both juniors. So if you're looking for them in the IE All-Star Classic, you're not going to see them because we still have one more year of high school football with the Cowboys still in front of them. That's very impressive. Jaden Daniels with over 60 touchdowns passing, over 1,000 yards on the ground as well. Darren Jones, who went viral, not as big as world famous, but he still got pretty big on social media, being 6'8", catching over 2,000 yards. Just a mismatch, just a nightmare for opposing teams.
King flip-flop. He can play.
We started our season with Darren Jones with the Cowboys.
He was the first guy that I saw this year and said, that guy's really good. Even though he was wearing flip-flops at the end of the game and was wearing a Burger King hat, he was really good, though. Athletic as can be.
Yeah, going back to that first scrimmage that we did live on IEMG, it was Cajon.
Apple Valley.
It was Apple Valley and Corona.
Yes.
Ron Geringer and Corona, and we knew right off the bat. Because remember, Darren Jones transferred into Cajon from Upland. So he had to sit out an entire year.
Right.
He didn't play basketball either.
No. And he's a stud.
Yeah, he's playing basketball right now. Cajon's going to be really good with him and Jeremiah Martin. But, yeah, Darren Jones really broke onto the scene. So both Cajon quarterback Jaden Daniels and receiver Darren Jones on our list of finalists for Mr. Football. Now how about a running back? And this guy is big time, Sherrod White out of Heritage High School. And, again, Heritage with that big, physical, overwhelming offensive line, they just crank out these great running backs. Remember, we had Luna time. Javier Luna.
Yeah,
he had
Luna.
A big all-star game.
That's right.
For Heritage High School. Sherrod White, again, just another one of these guys in line that comes out of Heritage High School. So many great backs. In fact, we had Jamal Morrow on the show, recently before the Holiday Bowl.
That is right.
For Washington State. So many great running backs at Heritage High School, and Sherrod White, just another one of those, as he helped Heritage reach the Division II semifinals this year. From a running back to a quarterback, Jeff, it's your favorite player, your favorite quarterback.
Seriously, my favorite quarterback of the year, Chance Nolan out of Paloma Valley. That guy can throw a football over a mountain, and he's a humble kid.
Uncle Rico style.
Uncle Rico style. He came into our show and said he was majoring in something I couldn't even
applied mathematical
whatever.
Something nonsense.
It was ridiculous, whatever it was.
Super smart guy.
But just a great kid and really smart. You know, you had Bert Esposito, who used to be his former coach, came in just to talk about the kid.
Yeah.
So he's got to be something special.
Very proud. The coaches are very proud of him. Kind of the poster boy for that Paloma Valley program. Great quarterback, taking his talents to Middle Tennessee.
That's right.
The Blue Raiders. So congratulations to Chance Nolan, another one of our Mr. Football finalists. The list moves on with another quarterback, and although he didn't play the entire season, got a little beat up here, but we all know when we're talking about the best players, the MVP in the Inland Empire, you have to include Centennial quarterback Tanner McKee. Right now he's at the Army All-American Bowl in San Antonio, getting ready for that. But he got banged up this year, didn't get to play an entire season, in fact, including that semifinal game in Division I against St. John Bosco, which Centennial was able to keep it close. Give credit to the Huskies and Matt Logan for doing what they were able to do without Tanner McKee. But you got to think, if McKee was healthy and on the field, the game could have been different. He's that good.
He is that good. He's a game changer, and I hope that he goes and plays for Chip Kelly at UCLA.
Oh,
could happen.
I've seen him at the Coliseum quite a few times visiting USC.
Oh, look at Angel.
We'll see, but we got
selling SC hard in here.
Yeah, he's trying.
We got a guy named JT Daniels who's right there at the Army All-American Bowl with Tanner McKee
as well.
So.
Well, the deal with McKee, though, is he's going to be on a Mormon mission for 2 years. So whoever, if you throw a line out there and get a Whopper, that Whopper might be Tanner McKee, but you got to hold on for a little bit.
But that's what you want. You look at him; he's built like Jack Skellington. By the time he's done, he's going to be
Jared Goff.
He's going to be
very Jared Goff-ish, isn't he?
But he could end up looking like John Elway by the time he's done with this 2-year mission. And I'm telling you, maturity-wise, strength-wise, mindset-wise, he's going to be a 21-year-old freshman. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
If he goes to BYU, not SC, or goes over to UC. I do love USC football, but I'm telling you, I love Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly's going to do something over there, and he would be great in that system for sure.
Because it's your brother's friend's best friend? Is that right?
It's my brother's best friend in New Hampshire. That is his childhood best friend, and my brother went to Vegas with Chip Kelly. And we tried
Your brother did?
Yeah, we tried to effort him to get on the show, but he's not doing interviews until starting next week. He said he was going to go radio silent.
Is he going to do it?
We're going to get him.
Tell your brother.
We're going to get Chip Kelly.
The Gorham Boys strike again.
Yeah, my brother hung out with him in Vegas. I can't wait to hear those stories
about Boys and Chip Kelly.
Yeah, hanging out in Vegas.
Was he hurrying up on Vegas? Like, come on, guys, next casino, next go.
He's holding up big signs, big pictures. But no, I heard he's a great guy. So yeah, maybe we'll get him on the show. Okay, move on,
that, Jeff. Okay, how about another quarterback? Jonathan Jefferson from Citrus Hill High School. I know this guy's in the IE All-Star Classic.
Yes.
And Citrus Hill, here's the deal with Citrus Hill. The whole stadium knows that you're not really going to pass the football. Like almost every single play is going to be a run play, yet they still could not stop Jonathan Jefferson. He had 8 touchdowns in the game.
8! And the guy, they run that Wildcat offense. I think they threw, for 3 games, they didn't throw a pass. But why do you need to when you have such a skilled athlete? And his brother plays at Rancho Verde.
The Rancho Verde, which is the rival of Citrus Hill.
Yes.
How does that work?
That's crazy. But no, he's a great player and I think a superior athlete. On this list, you look at it and you go, he stands out among the best athletes.
And I told you this off the air, and I'll share it with everyone else out there. The guy he reminds me of, like what he was able to do at Citrus Hill, was Ryan Matthews, former Chargers back, NFL running back, because I covered Ryan Matthews in high school. And it was the same deal. The whole stadium knew what was going to happen. It was going to be a direct snap to Ryan Matthews, or Jonathan Jefferson in this case, at quarterback, and he was going to take off on the run. Everyone knew it was coming, and they still couldn't stop it. So, Jonathan Jefferson, maybe you are the next Ryan Matthews, which wouldn't be such a bad deal.
Bad comparison there.
Bad comparison?
No, not a bad comparison.
Oh, not a bad. He did get banged up. He had a knock on him that he was kind of frail, to say the least.
Great comparison. Not bad. Great.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he went to the NFL and he got a nice little payday, so I don't feel too bad for him. And finally, let's round out our Mr. Football finalists, and we got 3 running backs. This guy is going straight to the Vatican, Jeff.
Yes, we've talked about him. He's a saint. He's a saint. Brandon Rankins.
St. Brandon Rankins, the king in San Bernardino County, all-time rushing leader. He's number 2 all-time in the IE, only behind the great Toby Gerhardt.
And he was no good, that Toby Gerhardt guy. Terrible player. Awesome. He was great.
Who is this guy?
Yeah, he was phenomenal. But yeah, second behind him, that's incredible. Incredible.
Yeah, Brandon Rankins leading Aquinas to their first ever regular undefeated championship. Again, this is a school that opened its doors in the late 50s, and they never went undefeated through the regular season until St. Brandon Rankins led this team. 10-0, 14-0, a CIF Southern Section Division IX championship. They got to the state playoff game, lost a tough one against Grace Brethren. Joshka Gustav did not play in that one. But you got to think another one of those guys, if they were healthy, they could have changed the outcome of that game.
The Germans. Okay, there we go.
So Brandon Rankins, the all-time leading rusher at Aquinas High School career-wise, and also single-season record holder and most touchdowns in a season. So basically, if you're looking up a record at Aquinas High School, if you go deep into the Vatican and break out the record book,
it's him.
Brandon Rankins wrote it. It's his name all over it.
It's in a scroll, one of the Dead Sea Scrolls. You see Brandon Rankins. It was already foretold. There we go.
From St. Brandon Rankins to Kaiser running back Tyler Allgaier.
Oh, he was great. We had him in the show.
Algier, I think.
Algier, like the old casino in Vegas. But think about it. They had the three-headed monster on that team, and he was phenomenal in league. I think he led the league in yards per carry, and he was just phenomenal and a great guy as well.
Big guy too.
Yeah,
can you imagine him running downhill at you? Like he's a big running back.
Yeah,
runs upright, like a very tough guy to bring down, and he amassed the yards big time. And again, Kaiser had some good backs. But he was the senior, backs. Got a lot of those carries, helped them get to the postseason. In fact, I went to, I want to say it was the quarterfinals. I think Kaiser won their first game in the playoffs, and then reached the second round, the quarters, and that was the game I went to.
That's right.
Yeah, and again, when you play a Kaiser football team, you're going to key on Tyler Algier because he's he kind of makes that offense go, especially in the ground game. And finally, our last running back, and this is another team like Heritage, big, physical, very tough offensive line, and they always have great running backs behind them. And we're talking about Travis Dye, the running back out of Norco High School. Intern Cullen covered several Norco games this year. He'd come back with a video, and without even seeing it, I'd say, how many Travis Dye touchdowns do you got? And he'd always have Travis Dye touchdown runs.
Pretty good bloodline, too. Dye family's had some great players.
Yeah, really good players. In fact, one of the brothers is at Oregon. In fact, Travis Dye also signed with Oregon.
That is right.
So the Dye brothers, that pipeline to the Oregon Ducks. So those are the 11 finalists for Mr. Football in the Inland Empire. Again, in no particular order, so don't go out there and say, oh my gosh, well, you mentioned Travis Dye last.
No. And we had talked about this. We went over this list at length after a UC Riverside basketball game. We were talking about this list. And really, these were the 11 guys that we came up with. And really, there were other good players, but nobody separated. I mean, these guys separated themselves from everyone else.
See, I always like to go with just my gut. Like, just write down the names that come to your head first.
Yeah.
And because the more you think about it, you're like, well, this guy had a pretty good season too. But, like, if they're not at the top of your head and you're not one of the first names that you jot down, then that's why these are the 11.
Yeah, these are our this year's Hall of Fame, to say.
The 11, kind of like a starting football team, right? 11 guys on the football field. But, again, no guys on defense, no offensive linemen. It's no slight to them because we love the defense. The O-line guys make it go. I do.
You do.
You don't play defense. I always play defense. But again, like the Heisman Trophy, when you see the guys sitting up there in their suits and they're all smiley and all the cameras are going off, it's the quarterbacks, it's the running backs, it's a couple of receivers, and it's just kind of the way it is. I know you go to a football practice and all the skill guys get the attention. You know what I mean? Like you go to a practice. Angel knows what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
You go to a practice. Who do they go for? The quarterback, Sam Darnold, right? And then they go for the running back, right? I mean, Angel knows what I'm talking about.
I love Kurt Sandoval to death, but one day I was at a practice. He said, who should I talk to today, Angel? Today, left tackle Toa Lovendon had a great game. He said, don't you ever recommend that I interview a left tackle again. But hey, Nike has their camp, the Elite 11. We could call this the I-Elite. 11.
Oh, that's why he's moving on, my friend.
That USC education
there it
is
is.
kicking in right now.
I don't know if Bill Bowerman's gonna have any issues with that.
It's a copyright issue.
He's not doing too well.
No, it's awesome. That's a good one.
All right, so that's the 11 finalists for Mr. Football in the Inland Empire. It doesn't get any bigger than this. We will announce the winner as we lead up to the 33rd Annual Inland Empire All-Star Classic. Jeff, did you get the trophy? Are you working on the trophy?
The trophy it will be here. Just put it out. Yes.
Is it gonna be huge?
It's a huge. Or is it? No, huge. It's going to be huge. Very huge.
All right, so we're excited about that. And again, congratulations to all the guys on the list. We'll make sure we get it on the Inland Sports website. We'll tweet it out. We'll do all those things because that's a pretty awesome list. And there's a couple juniors in there, which is scary because we still have one more year with these guys.
And think about it. We had the basketball players of the year, and look where those guys are. One's at Kentucky, one's a superstar at San Diego State.
We did all right. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we're not the smartest guys in the room, but once in a while,
we're shooting fish in a barrel, my friend. Shooting fish in a barrel. We get something right.
Sometimes, even when you jump off a cliff, you win a high diving contest.
There we go.
So, there we go. So yeah, Jamal Baker and Matt Mitchell from Roosevelt Basketball made us look pretty smart because they both are doing big things now. But yeah, those are our 11 finalists for Mr. Football. We're gonna put that on Twitter, and maybe even in the next coming days and into next week, we'll open up the phone lines as well. They call in, cast your vote. Let us know who you think should be Mr. Football in the Inland Empire. And here's the hard part: we had so many teams do really well. Rancho Verde, Cajon, Aquinas, Centennial's always there. Heritage went to the semifinals. Like, teams did really well. And, of course, there's always several good players on each team that helped them get to that point. It makes it really tough.
And a lot of good Riverside teams this year.
Was there? Think about it. Where's the Crickets?
Where are the Crickets? Yeah.
The City of Champions.
Hey, City of Champions, Riverside.
Yeah, we didn't have a single Riverside school make it out of the first round.
We did. Yes, we did.
Who?
Well, no, they're not.
No.
Because Patriots
not considered
part of Riverside. That's right.
Supa Dupa Harupa Valley Unified, right?
Yeah, so I guess, Crickets.
Yeah. All right, we come back here on the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. We'll get you all set for the IE All-Star Classic coming up, and in about 18 minutes, we'll have the great Jim Clover. Everyone knows Jim Clover. Everyone's got a Jim Clover story, including Jeff.
I don't like Jim Clover.
He made you throw up, didn't he?
No, he made me pass out.
Oh, pass out.
Yeah, that's even worse. I love that guy, though. He's a great guy.
You can go to jail for that now.
We'll be right back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM.
You're naughty.
Thank God, first of all. I thank the great people that I've got around me that help support me, the people that work for me. As I started, if it wasn't for the people around me, we probably wouldn't be here right now, but I've got a great staff. I've got great people that do stuff for us outside the store, and we've been very, very fortunate. Our service is impeccable, and we just keep trying to get better every year. We can do online stuff for your teams, as well as, like I said, the screen printing, the embroidery. We also have 3 women that do extra sewing for us, like tackle tool on uniforms, or the bling or rhinestones for different shirts for the ladies. That's why we have certain racks just for certain schools, and the fun about that is that it turns into other schools that may come in here that aren't as close, that we can do stuff for them as well. We've had very, very good customers throughout the years, and it's just been a blast.
I played once upon a time at Centennial High School. I was actually on the first ever CIF championship team back in 2000, and then my senior year we won it again. I'd say that's my passion because I've done it. You know, I know exactly where these athletes are at. I know what their mindset is right now. I know how hard it is to, number one, find a performance coach who can take you to the next level. What sets us apart has to be, you know, how we work with our athletes and what we know. We can take an athlete and you know, help them reach their athletic potential, you know, help them, you know, prevent injuries, help get them stronger. I know every single athlete who steps into this gym. I know exactly where they're at, and I'm going to progress them every week. If you're not getting results, then, you know, really what's it about? We're going to deliver something that's measurable, you know, in terms of speed, power, you know, strength, agility.
Learning a privilege, not a chore, and frustration a tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy and giving up impossible. I'm a teacher. I make more.
Find out how you can make more at teach.org. Make more. Teach. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
Merry New Year!
In this country, we say Happy New Year.
Ha 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 ha! Thank you for correcting my English, which stinks. I am Nanja Ibuko, exchange student from Cameroon. Ha 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 ha!
Now back to the Inland Sports Show. Here's Pep and Jeff.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood.
Hey.
It's a beautiful day for a neighbor.
One of my childhood favorites.
Was it?
Yeah, I loved him.
Yeah, Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, he taught me how to tie my shoes and
Sesame Street
and wear sweaters, cardigans.
Yeah. He has pretty good style now you think about it.
I loved him. He was great. And
Always changed his shoes. Like
my favorite part though is he would feed the fish. No joke. That was my favorite part. I don't know why. When I was a kid, he's going to feed the fish. And there's Mr. Rogers sprinkling a little fish food over. My favorite thing.
Welcome back to the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. Getting you all excited for the 33rd Annual Inland Empire All-Star Classic. El Clasico is coming back. It's January 13th at Centennial High School. In fact, this Saturday will be Media Day at Centennial High School, and all the guys will be out there. You know, the team picture stuff, and we'll get some interviews and some video and stuff as well. But while they're doing that, we got a couple guys at the Army All-American Bowl as well.
That's right.
Justin Dietich, who was here in our studio last week, signed with USC. Angel, I know you're excited about that. And people are already going on Twitter after that manhandling by the Ohio State, if you don't mind me saying.
It was.
They're like, hey, Justin, can you hurry and get to Troy? Because we need you on the O-line.
One thing I want to point out, Sam Darnold was sacked not 1, not 2, 8 times in that Cotton Bowl game.
Not 2.
Not 3. We go all the way to 8.
Not 7.
And you know what? People hate on Mr. Darnold, but it's a lot harder to throw passes when you're getting chased for your life. And hopefully Justin can be a solution for Troy.
I do love USC football, but I do want Tanner McKee to play for UCLA.
You want him with Chip Kelly?
Yeah, but no, I do like USC football. And
thank you, brother.
I cannot wait. But he's going to be a student starting in a couple weeks.
Dietich.
Yeah.
Right after the Army All-American Bowl.
That's right.
He's going to go play in the game in San Antonio, and then on January 8th, he starts classes at USC. And he said, and I know he'll follow through because the kind of family he comes from, and his brother actually sent us something because his brother Billy he's now at CBU, but he played soccer at Dordt College in Iowa.
Wow.
That Justin's going to add something to our wall of fame here in the Inland Sports Studios. Some USC gear. He's going to sign it. He's going to send it to us to put up on the wall. That's how cool he is.
Yeah, he's just cool.
So Justin's there. We got Tanner McKee. We mentioned that, Centennial quarterback at the Army All-American Bowl in San Antonio. And Jeremiah Martin, big-time football and basketball star for Cajon High School.
Right.
He had like 32 sacks this season to lead the state. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, I did mention the best athlete. I take that back. He is the best athlete I think I've ever seen in the Inland Empire, and I've seen some good ones. He's a Division I basketball player. He's a player of the year in football defensively, and will probably play in the NFL. But he's one of those guys that could have played in the NBA or the NFL. And if he played baseball, he'd have been great there too.
Even as a defensive end, they were playing him at receiver. They just throw him the fade, and he just out-jump everybody and go get the ball. And he made it look easy, although I know it was difficult. But 32 sacks.
32 sacks.
In a high school season, which is crazy. I used to do a football show in another part of California, and our guy, it was the David Carr Most Valuable Player Award. It was the David Carr MVP.
Wow.
And But the guy who went to, ironically, because remember David Carr when he played for the Texans?
Yes.
Sacked all the time. He broke all the NFL records for like sacks in a season, sacks in a game. Like he was just running for his life constantly. So ironically, when David Carr picked his MVP for our TV show, he picked a guy who led the state in sacks. But his name was Rain Cravens, by the way. How cool a name is that?
That's a good one.
But Rain Cravens led the state with 19.
Oh,
Jeremiah Martin
19.
had 32.
That's playing Madden on easy mode.
Oh my gosh. That's why I always go back to it. I look at that, I'm like, how did Jeremiah Martin do that? Okay, of course, they had a really long season because they went all the way to the CIF state championship game in Division II AA.
Yeah.
So they had 16 games. It was almost like an NFL season. But think of an NFL guy having 32 sacks.
Yeah,
like
crazy.
It's unfathomable. So Jeremiah Martin, Tanner McKee, and Justin Dietich all at the Army All-American Bowl this week. But we are focusing our attention on the 33rd Annual Inland Empire All-Star Classic, January 13th at Centennial High School. It's the biggest game in history because it's the longest-running high school football All-Star game in the state of California. So it's a very big deal. A lot of guys have gone through this game who have gone on to big-time college careers and even the NFL, and some have just been productive members of society. They go through the IE All-Star Classic, they go to college, they get great jobs, and they keep it here in the IE and the 951 and the 909 doing big things as well. So, Intern Angel, you are a sideline guy, sideline reporter for some of our broadcasts.
Yeah, and we got one of our guests coming up, Jim Clover. I did the sideline broadcast for a few IE All-Star Classics, the biggest game in history. We're talking about back in BC times, there was no bigger sporting competition, but during a sideline report, Jim Clover's going to be on air right now. I'm next to Jim Clover. The cameraman tells me, you got 10 seconds and you're hot. Jim Clover grabs my arm. He looks me dead in the eyes and he says, this is going to be the greatest experience of your life. And the interview was Nirvana. I went nuts. My eyes rolled back. I saw my future. I saw my wife, my ex-wife. It was insane.
He accurately predicted it.
He did, and I'm kind of scared that he's going to call now. I might have to leave the studio. I might get emotional.
Yeah, he's the best.
You know what he also does? I don't know if he does it to you guys, but whenever he shakes my hand.
Oh, yeah.
Does he do that to you guys?
He checks your artery, make sure you're alive.
He's like, hey, good news. You're still alive.
Yeah.
You're not. So he always shakes my hand, checks the pulse.
Yeah.
That way we know it's all good. So Jim Clover's going to join us in just a couple minutes, talk about the IE All-Star Classic. And again, they've passed out $175,000 worth of scholarship money, since they started this thing. They've got 4 scholarships that they're going to do leading up to the IE All-Star Classic this year. They got the Riverside Tyler Llewellyn Scholarship for $1,000. They have a San Bernardino Scholarship for $1,000. They have the Dr. Jerome Wall Sports Medicine Scholarship for $500. And the Frank and Rose Scholarship, Dr. Wall's parents, for another $500. So if you just do the simple math, that's another $3,000 worth of scholarship money that they will pass out. And again, the deadline is coming up. It's January 6th. It's this Saturday. It's the same day as Media Day for the IE All-Star Classic. And there's a way that you can actually fill out an application and email it in to the organizers because they're going to review them, and obviously they're going to pick some winners with the scholarship money. So we're going to have Jim Clover on in just a couple minutes to talk about that. And if you're a player out there, or maybe you're a coach who has a player in the game, how you can get them involved and get them that scholarship. Because, again, it's a very cool deal. And the names behind the scholarship, too, very meaningful here in the Inland Empire. Some big names that people recognize, including the Wall family. And, of course, Tyler Llewellyn, who was an Arlington football player who lost his life not too long ago playing the game that we love. So that's coming up January 6th. And Jim Clover will be on. He'll have the email address where you can fill out the application and email it to him. And they have a panel aboard of guys who are going to review this stuff and pick the big winners. All right, when we come back here on the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM, more on the IE All-Star Classic, maybe a little NFL talk as well, and UC Riverside men's basketball. We'll be right back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM.
I've studied the human mind. I've learned how to...
We're a small family-owned, strive for quality pre-owned vehicles. We're not a volume dealer, and we take every deal as personal to us. We're a low-stress environment. We're not a pressure sales house. If you want to shop us, you're more than welcome to shop us. We have, like I said, great rates, competitive financing, a lot of one-owner, clean Carfax, clean title vehicles. As you see, we have Carfax everywhere. That's most important to us, to educate our customers before they make a purchase. We're right off of Ontario, right off a couple exits off the 15 freeway, off Cajalco, off El Cerrito, and we're right on the main drag going into Dos Logos and the Crossings. We have great financing, we have great lenders that we're using. We do buy, sell, trade, cash for your car. Whatever we need to do to help accommodate the customer, that's what we're here for. We have a little bit of everything. We start at about $69.95 and go all the way up to $100,000. We have Escalades, we have commuters, we have pickup trucks, we have Jeeps, sport utilities, and if we don't have it, our specialty is finding you exactly what you're looking for.
WPDE Riverside.
Doesn't it look like I am always ready. I have been ready since first call. I am ready. Roll.
We're back to the Inland Sports Show. Here are your hosts, Pep Fernandez and Jeff Gorham.
Welcome back to the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. We're proudly brought to you by Spoiled Quick Quality Oil Change, Kin Sporting Goods, Boost Performance Training, and Catalano Motors in Corona. We're talking about the 33rd Annual Inland Empire All-Star Classic. January 13th at Centennial High School. It's the longest-running high school football all-star game in the state of California. And the mastermind behind it all, the great Jim Clover, join us live on the show right now. Hey, Jim, that was a pretty nice win by your Buckeyes.
Yeah, I was sad for the USC Fighting Trojans, but it was a great day for America's best team in the world. That'd be the Ohio State University.
I was thinking of you, man, because Ohio State, I know it wasn't easy, but Ohio State made it look easy against a pretty good USC team. I mean, they were highly ranked.
The Big Ten looked pretty good, too, except for that team up north that couldn't win.
Oh, you hate Michigan. Yeah, you hate the Wolverines. Who? Yeah, they laid an egg against South Carolina. But we want to talk.
God almighty, they're terrible. We're going to throw them out of the Big Ten.
Oh, my goodness. We got the Inland Empire All-Star Classic coming up this Saturday at Centennial High School's Media Day, and then the following Saturday is the actual game, January 13th. Also, this Saturday is the deadline for the scholarship. So, Jim, I know there's several different scholarships that the players are in the running for, but how do they actually submit and get their name in the running to actually win the scholarship?
All they have to do, there's scholarships, and there's the San Bernardino, which only the San Bernardino athletes can participate in. That's $1,000. And then the Riverside County Toddler Llewellyn, that's $1,000. And then there's a Jerome F. Wall, that's a sports medicine, and anybody graduating senior in the Inland Empire can compete against that one. And then also the Frank and Rose, which is Dr. Wall's parents. And that's, if anybody has a really good story and they want to make $500, that's for that one. And then the other one people forget about is we also have the best dressed at the banquet every year, and Randy Horde puts that on. He's an SC guy because he's rich, you know. He puts in $100 for that.
But Randy Hort's not.
So if all they have to do is email me, Jim Clover1. So it's Jim Clover, the number 1 at me.com, and we're going to go all the way until the middle of next week. They email me, I'll send them an application. They have to fill some stuff out, and then we pick the best people. And I mean, we've had some incredible people over the years. Bruce Campbell was our first one, and now he's the Chief Development Officer of Discovery. Jimmy Wynn, Sean Zink, David's brother. We've had a bunch of doctors, people went on to be doctors and lawyers and all kinds of stuff. So it's turned out really well.
Yeah, but you said Randy Horde was he puts in money for the best dress. I remember him just wearing. I remember Randy wearing flip flops and tank tops everywhere around Riverside. When did he become such a good dresser?
Well, he's still not.
Okay, there we go.
No, I mean it's something like when they graduate from USC. That's how they walk across the old deal. I don't know. I don't really understand that.
They don't have class like the Ohio State.
And they were trying to play with flip flops against the Buckeyes, and that didn't work out so well either.
There you go.
We got Jim Clover here on the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. Jim, we've been talking about the amount of money that the game has been able to pass out in scholarships since you guys have started this 33 years ago, and you told me it was $175,000. Is it really that much?
Well, see, we did the football game. Then we also did, I don't know if you remember this, we did a basketball all-star game for about 4 or 5 years. And then we also run a meeting in sports called Practical Application Sports Medicine. So we have 3 different entities where we give scholarships away. So it's a lot of money if you think about it. But it's been a lot of years, though, too. 33 years, that's a long time. That's probably older than either of you guys.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah. Jeff's like, I'll take that. But we're excited about the game, and of course, the media day beforehand, where the guys will take the pictures and do that whole thing, do interviews and whatnot, leading up to the IE All-Star Classic.
That's the biggest problem I run into, because they all think they wear smalls and they look like ice cream cones.
They'll squeeze into them, right?
Oh God! I said, son, you're not even close, man.
And it's still a USC versus like UCLA themed colors, right?
Yep, we're doing that. And this year, Riverside County is going to have the USC colors, and San Bernardino is going to have the UCLA.
See, Jim, we could always do like a Ohio State versus Michigan color theme.
He won't do that. He won't ever go that. No way. He'll go.
Well, if you look back to the colors before, they were a scarlet and gray and a maize and nothing.
It was close.
We did kind of go with that. And I always had an idea who was going to win. I made sure they had the scarlet. And it's not red, it's scarlet.
Of course you did, right?
Yeah. Well, we had, figure this out, we had Archie Griffin speak at one of our banquets. Archie Griffin's the only 2-time Heisman Trophy winner that will ever be.
That's true.
And then we also had Rex Kern, and he was a quarterback when they won the national championship back with Woody. So we've had 2 Buckeyes come and speak at our banquet before.
So you got the banquet coming up, and the comedian, he's back, right?
Oh, no, he's not back. We have something else we have up our sleeve, and we're not telling anybody until we show up.
Oh, I didn't know it was top secret. It's very hush-hush.
Yeah, it's going to be a magician, kind of. Jeff speaking.
Balloon animals and everything, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're going to have everything there is. I don't know. I think the biggest thing cracks me up. One year, I don't know if you were there, some guy showed up in this green suit that was absolutely beautiful. He had, shoes that matched this thing. Everything was in a hat and a cane. It was beautiful. He looked good until some guy showed up with a white tails, and his face was brush painted on the back of it. And he took
You can't beat that.
It's like, how did you do that? I mean, he had his whole mug on the back of his, and they were tails.
So if I see you walk in with one of those, I'll know where you got the inspiration from.
Oh yeah, it can never be touched again.
Well, Jim, we always appreciate the time, and again, give us the information on the scholarships and how guys can apply for these.
All you have to do is email me, or if the guys at practice will get it then. But like I said, there's a couple of them up in the air. The sports medicine, the Franklin Rose, anybody graduating senior Inland Empire. All they have to do is email me at jimclover1, like the number 1 at me.com, or just go to our website, mysportclinic.org, and you can get me that way too.
Yeah, and if you hit us up on Twitter too at @inland_sports, we'll point you in the right direction too.
Yep, get her done.
All right, thanks, Jim. We appreciate it. This is very exciting. I think Jeff's going to apply over here for one of the scholarships. So
I'm going to give it my best. And I just want to go wherever there's food. So that's all that matters to me is the food and a little bit of cash. A little bit of cash would be good.
Yeah. Jeff, we got to work out who has the best and the worst concession stands in the Inland Empire, because I could be a part of that deal.
I'm telling you, that's what we've been talking about. We talked about food today. There's so many cool places to eat. around the IE, especially at games, some places, though, we need to close down and give like a B or a C rating.
Well, how about the worst? I could give you the worst, man. There's no question. I got those down.
Okay, well, we're going to have to save those. Unless you want to say it right now, it could be a tease. Who's the worst?
This last year they went to was Fontana.
Faux High. Faux High used to be the best.
Used to be the best. They used to have the link. It used to be the best. They had a hamburger. The Lions Club were the best. I went over there, and they had like a snack bar with just, I think they had like Diet Dr. Pepper and Twist or something.
And corn nuts.
Yeah, and I was expecting to eat there all night, and it was terrible.
Yeah, I remember that. When I was a kid, I remember going to the Faux High games and getting those burgers. They were fantastic.
Oh, they were the best, man.
Oh.
The Lions Club put them on. I was looking forward to that. And the other one besides that is Palm Springs. Their hot dog. I went down there, and the outside was black, and the inside was frozen. It's like, how did you do that?
Yeah, just don't even go to Palm Springs anymore. Just boycott them forever.
No, so those two, I'm not going back anymore.
Are we going to have good food at the banquet?
Oh, are we going to?
I'll take that as a yes. It's not going to be catered by Palm Springs High School. So
Yeah, we'll have something there, I guarantee you.
Jim, we always appreciate it. And, we'll make sure we get that the information on the scholarships on our social media platforms and on the website, too.
Cool. All right, man.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Go Buckeyes.
No! No Buckeyes!
Yeah, thanks, Jim.
OHIO, baby. OHIO.
The great Jim Clover here on the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. Can you apply for the scholarship? There was the one in honor of Dr. Wall's parents.
I don't know what I would use a
the
scholarship
Frank and Rose.
For. I mean, what am I going to go back to school for? There's nothing left.
I don't know. You could enroll at RCC for a couple units of
I've wanted
origami.
To take some pottery classes. See? I think that would mellow me out. It might help me out because I got these darn 3 kids in my house.
Yeah, you're very angry.
Oh man,
big salty G's. They call you on the streets.
My days, I get up early in the morning. I'm done. I'm done because my kids just jump all over me like maniacs. My 1-year-old's the only one I like because you know why? Because he doesn't talk yet.
There we go.
When he starts talking, because he's my favorite. He's got the best hair. The other 2 ding dongs just bother me nonstop. And I like my wife still, Carla Smedberg. I love her. I miss her.
Old Rolly Smedberg.
Oh, gold.
Well, the scholarships are for graduating seniors, not seniors who have graduated at some point.
What about a graduating senior?
Whoa, I'm not a senior yet. Yeah. I still got a few 8 years. Yes!
You're doing the math.
Yeah, I got
old age setting in. He can't do the math.
Oh, Alzheimer's.
All right, when we come back here on the Inland Sports Show, we'll talk about the NFL playoff picture and how the Rams started from the bottom and now they're here. It's true.
Jack Skellington's going to lead him to a Super Bowl, baby.
He might do it.
I love it.
He might do it. We'll talk Rams football, the NFL, and maybe we'll touch on this San Diego State, Colorado State basketball game, which is right after us here on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. This is the one and only Inland Sports Show. We'll be right back.
Sherry, can you do this? Rolling with the homies.
Rolling with the homies.
Yeah, let's do it. You ready?
So how you guys doing? My name is Coach Ray Bass. We're here at the Boost Performance Center today, and here with the one and only Pep Fernandez, and we're going to go over a real basic vertical jump. All right, we're going to teach you guys the technique and its progression. This is a great drill for really any sports. Really emphasizes pure power production through the hips, and power is really important for basically any type of athlete, whether you're a football player, track, soccer, basketball. We all want to be powerful, strong athletes, so we're going to go over that today. All right, so first things first, I'm going to have Jacob go ahead and stand with his feet underneath his hips. So you want to have your toes pointed forward. You want your feet to be about hip width, all right? He's going to have his shoulders flexed, all right, in front of his body. So his arms up in front. Okay, now, the most important part here is what's called a counter movement. And what that is I'm going to throw my shoulders back into extension, all right? I'm going to flex my hips, all right? So the shoulders are going to be flexed, and the hips are going to, the shoulders are going to be extended and the hips are going to be flexed, all right? And then we follow that up with shoulder flexion and hip extension. It's got to be really fast, all right? So right now, I'm just going to show you the first phase of that. So Jacob, I want you to drop your hips into flexion. I want you to throw your arms back into extension when I say go. Ready? Go. Right there. So come up. That's the most important movement there. So after that, it's the landing, all right? So we want to get as high as we can. As I go up, I want to extend through my hips, through my knees, I want my toes pointed up. And when we land, I'm going to land back into that hip flexion, arms extended, and I want to stick the landing, all right? So we're going to go over it now. So now we're going to actually jump here, Jacob. I want to see that counter movement. Go ahead and walk a little bit closer to the hurdle here. We're going to extend on the way up as we elevate, extend through the hips and the knees, stick the landing, throw the arms into extension. Here we go, ready? On you.
Focus on the customer here. Believe it or not, that is the biggest thing for customers on an oil change. They just want the convenience of coming in, driving in, getting it done, and driving out. Just greet them, get them going, and they're done in about 10 minutes or so. We don't push any sales on them. We do the oil change, and I think that's what sets us apart is our customer service. Vacuumed and cleaned your windshield for you as well. Everything's looking pretty good. Come into us one time, believe me, we'll spoil you and you'll be ready to come back the next time.
World's largest golf outing, presented by Billy Casper Golf. Help Fisher House Foundation build no-cost comfort homes for military families. Get details at fisherhouse.org/golf.
That girl wilding all outside. Talking about she looked like Janet Jackson.
Ooh, no, she didn't go there.
Yeah, got out the car looking more like Freddie Jackson.
We're back to the Inland Sports Show. Here are your hosts, Pep Fernandez and Jeff Gorham.
Welcome back to the Inland Sports Show. You like this song?
He's been really good. He had Al B. Sure on earlier today. Like, that's some great music. This is my time. 80s, man.
That is your time.
Pleasure Principle, baby. Little Janet Jackson.
Unless it's got some twang. Something I can milk some cows too. I'm not real familiar with it, man.
I'm grooving. It's just woke me up. I'm ready to go. Let's go, Pep.
Welcome back to the Inland Sports Show, Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. So the Rams started from the bottom and now they're here. And this is because they are the first team in National Football League history to be the worst scoring team one season and the highest scoring team the next. And it really, they should send a big gift to the Philadelphia Eagles, who laid a huge, big egg on the final week of the regular season. And they were supposed to. They had nothing to play for. They just want to be healthy and go into the postseason. What was it, 6-0 against the Dallas Cowboys? Yeah. Final game of the season. So they scored no points because Philadelphia was the team that was just above the Rams. I mean, it was just like decimal points.
Yeah.
But now the Rams finished the season at 29.9 points per game, almost 30 points per contest, which is a far cry from what we saw last year. In fact, I was at Rams training camp. I went to some games. Jared Goff was tripping over his own feet. Yep. He couldn't hand the ball off to Todd Gurley. I don't know. Like, it was a mess. Like, people had already dug the grave, put Jared Goff in it, and were throwing dirt on his head. Like, that's how bad it was.
Let's thank Jeff Fisher, because he did.
Well, he thinks he did.
Yes, he did.
Why is he popping his head out like a whack-a-mole machine?
Hey, he was responsible.
Popping his head out saying, you know, I built this team. I set them up for all the success, you know.
Jeff Fisher. You know what he is good for, though? Is a really good mustache. He's got a great mustache. But I'm telling you what, Jack Skellington is my favorite quarterback in the league.
Is he?
Yeah, he is my favorite.
So
because everybody ripped him.
Yeah.
And I knew he was going to be good because he was in that great offense up north.
At Cal.
It was just, you could see that he had shots of brilliance. He just, it's a big jump. It's like going to high school to Division I. It's a big jump. Going from Division I to the NFL, even a bigger jump. It just took some time.
Yeah, and with Fisher as the head coach, and I know, listen, we're just beating a dead horse here, but like, he wasn't an offensive coach. He wasn't the best fit for that team. And I remember something weird too. Our good friend Greg Bell, former Rams running back, who does the show quite a bit for us, talking NFL. He pointed out something to me last year when we went to training camp, was that the fact that Todd Gurley really didn't run a lot of plays with the team. No. Like, they'd run him out late. He'd hardly go through any plays, and then they'd pull him out. And Greg Bell would say, you know what? I want to see him in there with the first team offense.
Yeah.
Like, you can't not practice together and then go to a game situation and just expect everything to be great. Like, they were saving Todd Gurley. Like, I know running backs, they rack up the miles real quick, and they're very sensitive in terms of trying to keep them healthy and not putting too many miles on those legs. But, like, they'd hardly get Todd Gurley out there. So I haven't been to training camp this year. We haven't followed the Rams as closely. Yeah. But last year, like, how can you think the offense would be in sync if you don't have the first-team offense together working as a unit in practice?
And he's had the best years of running back since Herschel Walker.
Yeah.
I mean, that tells you something right there. That's 30-plus years. The guy, when the Rams give him 20 carries a game, and I said it, when they give him the ball 20-plus times a game, they win every single time. I believe they're 9-0, and he's got 20-plus carries. So, I mean, you just got to get him the ball, and it will chew up clock. It will open up. It spreads that offense for Goff to throw the ball anywhere he wants when you have such a good player in Gurley. And I do think he deserves the MVP. Todd Gurley, definitely over
Mo Brady's brother?
Over Mo Brady's brother, yes.
Oh.
And there's one thing I think needs to be said about Jack Skellington, a.k.a. Jared Goff. When you look at #1 overall picks in the NFL, traditionally, they come from these winning powerhouse programs where you learned how to win. You learned how to lead teams to national championship games. Where did Jared Goff come from?
Cal.
8-5 his last year there. Started off with a winless season in conference play. There's something to be said about a guy who knows how to lose and be resilient and go through things. That's something that a lot of #1 picks don't have, and that he has.
That's true.
Yeah. Jared Goff in his second season, having turned things around with Sean McVay, and he's going to be put to the test on Saturday in the playoff game because they're going against a Falcons team who's anchored in that secondary by the great DeMonte Casey out of Cajon High School,
That's
San
right.
Bernardino product. And Casey, as a rookie out of San Diego State, already getting a lot of playing time in the secondary. They've been kind of decimated by injuries for the Atlanta Falcons in their defensive back, so he's had to play a lot, and he's been making a lot of plays. So we're going to see DeMonte Casey going up against Jared Goff on Saturday. So the Rams versus the Falcons, Goff against our guy from the IE, the pride of Cajon High School, DeMonte Casey. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We'll see if Casey can be flying around the secondary. I kind of want to see the Rams win. Just to be honest, I'm not a Rams fan. I just think it's kind of a cool story.
Absolutely.
Because they were so bad last year. They were so bad. It was supposed to be the triumphant return to Los Angeles. People weren't going to the games. They stunk. Nobody was talking about them. And now to turn things around, it's pretty cool. I'm excited for them.
Yeah, I think the Eagles, after this, obviously they're going to play this week, but I think they're going to fall pretty early in the playoffs too. When you lose, when Foles is your backup, they're not going to be able to run the same playbook as they did before, and it's going to be a shorter playbook. And I think they're very vulnerable. I think Minnesota has a shot. Yeah. Minnesota has a shot to play in the first Super Bowl at home, which would be pretty incredible.
See, that's what I don't like. I don't like the Rams going on the road to Minnesota.
That's a tough one.
Again.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's not a good matchup.
I think that's a tough matchup. But I do think if the Rams beat this first game and end up beating Minnesota, they will go to the Super Bowl. And they have, like I said, they have a puncher's chance against anybody in the NFL on any given Sunday. They're just that good offensively.
Rams and Falcons this Saturday. If they win, it would be a trip to Minnesota, where the Vikings have already beat the Rams on their home field 24-7. So we'll see.
Yes.
It's hard to beat this team twice in one season. We'll see what happens. When we come back here on the Inland Sports Show, Fox Sports IE 1350 AM, we're going to wrap things up and get you ready for Aztec basketball. San Diego State on the road at Colorado State. We'll be right back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM.
Do you think I like being you?
Thank God, first of all. I thank the great people that I've got around me that help support me, the people that work for me. As I started, if it wasn't for the people around me, we probably wouldn't be here right now, but I've got a great staff. I've got great people that do stuff for us outside the store, and we've been very, very fortunate. Our service is impeccable, and we just keep trying to get better every year. We can do online stuff for your teams, as well as, like I said, the screen printing, the embroidery. We also have 3 women that do extra sewing for us, like tackle tool on uniforms, or the bling or rhinestones for different shirts for the ladies. That's why we have certain racks just for certain schools, and the fun about that is that it turns into other schools that may come in here that aren't as close, that we can do stuff for them as well. We've had very, very good customers throughout the years, and it's just been a blast.
We focus on the customer here. Believe it or not, that is the biggest thing for customers on an oil change. They just want the convenience of coming in, driving in, getting it done, and driving out. We just greet them, get them going, and they're done in about 10 minutes or so. We don't push any sales on them. We do the oil change, and I think that's what sets us apart is our customer service. Vacuumed and cleaned your windshield for you as well. Everything's looking pretty good. You come into us one time, believe me, we'll spoil you and you'll be ready to come back the next time.
Brought to you by the Hispanic Scholarship Fund and the Ad Council.
You know what? I will have some meatloaf. Let's have some meatloaf.
You want some? Yes. I knew you'd come. Hey, Mom! The meatloaf! We want it now! The meatloaf!
What is she doing? I never know what she's doing back there.
We're back to the Inland Sports Show. Here are your hosts, Pep Fernandez and Jeff Gorham.
And welcome back to the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. This is it, man. We're leading into Aztec basketball. We're proudly brought to you by Spoiled Quick Quality Oil Change, Kin Sporting Goods, Boost Performance Training, and Catalano Motors in Corona. San Diego State, on paper, good team. They got Matt Mitchell from Roosevelt High School. Coach Brian Dutcher, a personal friend of Jeff's. They can win this thing. It's kind of a sputtering start out of the gate in Mountain West Conference play, but they're at Colorado State tonight.
Yeah, we talked to John Ramey, voice of Nevada, and he did say that there's going to be some teams that are going to upset guys on any given night. There's not going to be an undefeated team in conference, but they're coming off a big win, a 20-point win over Utah State on Saturday night. 79-59 victory.
Was that at Utah State?
It was at home. Okay. Where the Aztecs, they're 6-1 this year at home, so they're pretty good there. But they are going into a tough place to play tonight. But there are two players that have really stood out for the Aztecs. You got Matt Mitchell, who's probably the best freshman in that conference. He comes in. He's had eight double-digit scoring games this season. He's shooting 42% from three, so he's shooting the ball well. But there's another guy who's come out of the woodwork just in the last few games. Jalen McDaniels is one of 19 freshmen nationally to average 6 points and 6 rebounds and shoot 50% or better from the field in his last 6 games. He's averaging 10 points and almost 8 rebounds. So he has just come out of nowhere. He's an athletic, slashing forward that can play the perimeter, but he just has a knack to get to the basket, a lot like our guy, Johnny Kennedy out of UC Riverside.
From out of the woodwork.
Just stud.
A stud. A partner for Matt Mitchell to lead the Aztecs going forward into Colorado State tonight in Mountain West Conference play. And we've talked a lot about San Diego State basketball and Matt Mitchell and the Aztecs here on the show. We had Coach Brian Dutcher. And what strikes me, Jeff, you're the basketball guy around here. The Mountain West Conference, those home sites, the home arenas, are some of the best in the country. We're talking about New Mexico, the Pit. Utah State's a tough place to play. They love basketball there. They packed the place in Logan, Utah.
And they had a matinee game up in Nevada and had over 9,000 people.
Mountain West Conference basketball is actually really good.
Yeah, you go to Viejas, you have the show.
And those home arenas are tough.
It's tough to win on the road, but when you go, like you said, you go to a San Diego State game, you have the show, which I think is probably first or second best student section on the West Coast, maybe behind Gonzaga. Gonzaga's a place to play. You go out, and it's just student-centered, a lot like Grand Canyon University, which is just mayhem.
Mayhem, yes.
So it's a tough conference. I think it's the best, most athletic conference on the West Coast, even more so than the Pac-12. Pac-12 have a couple really good teams. USC is very athletic. Arizona's athletic, and Arizona State as well. But, man, I'm telling you, on any given night, the Mountain West can beat anybody in the country.
There's some really good teams at the top of that. Of course, Fresno State, we had Deshaun Taylor in here. Boise State's going to be in the mix. San Diego State, of course, Nevada. John Ramey joined us yesterday to talk about the Wolfpack. So I don't know if I'd call it top-heavy, but there's some teams at the top that are really, really good. Now you throw in Colorado State, where the Aztecs play tonight. That's a game that they should and need to win. Playing on the road.
Yeah, but Colorado State's won 7 consecutive home games, so it's
what's going on? That's a football school. What are they doing over there?
But it's just tough to play. I mean, you're playing in higher altitudes, you're playing in different weather conditions, and you're playing against the fans, and that's just a tough thing to do every night, especially in that Mountain West Conference.
All right, San Diego State basketball is coming up right after us tomorrow, 10 a.m. You can have breakfast on IEMG because we're going to have Arroyo Valley and La Sierra girls soccer live on IEMG. It's the matchup that you were dreaming about, Jeff.
A live kickball at 10 a.m.?
Live kickball. Arroyo Valley's got a really good girls team, and La Sierra, the defending River Valley League champions. As they both get ready for league play, it's the second biggest game in history behind the All-Star Classic.
So this is like Wimbledon. I'm going to get up early in the morning tomorrow.
Yes.
I'm going to get my coffee and eat my scone. And I'm going to watch girls kickball tomorrow morning, 10 a.m.
La Sierra and Arroyo Valley. It's all brought to you by our good friends, of course, at Spoiled. Quick quality oil change. Ken's Sporting Goods. More than 40 years in the Inland Empire. They are a staple for all your sporting gear needs. Boost Performance Training in Corona with Coach Ray Bass. Check out the new Overtime program. They'll get you ready for playing at the high school level. And Catalano Motors in Corona off Temescal Canyon Road. You could buy, you could trade, and you can finance. Huge shout out to world famous intern Angel for stopping in, dropping some Rose Bowl knowledge.
Hey, he's going to be the most famous of any of us.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Between him and intern Colin, man.
They're going to own the world. They could be president and vice president of the world someday.
They might. Big thanks to Brandon Dunn from ABC 15 in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And who else did we have on today?
Clover.
Jim Clover.
Do we want to thank Jim Clover, though? I guess so, yeah, we will.
Yeah, big shout out to Jim Clover as well. The IE All-Star Classic coming up January 13th from Centennial High School. We'll see you tomorrow, 3 o'clock, right here, the one and only Inland Sports Show, Fox Sports IE 1350 AM.
You can't